Go.
Yeah.
Go.
Hey.
Go. Bro. Okay, cool. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, one and all, to the debut episode of No Bucks Given, episode number 1. It is the initial pilot, the send-off, the maiden voyage. Is that what it's called? The maiden voyage, like the initial.
Yes.
I was trying to think. Yeah, okay. I couldn't really think of
we
any
just
other.
smashed the champagne bottle into the back of the ship. We're good to go.
That's a waste of. That is the worst waste of champagne I've ever seen, and everything. Like, oh, we're gonna take this like really expensive type of bubbly and just smash it against a boat, and then all the alcoholics will just sip it off the side of the boat. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent here. This is a new show that we started right here on the Horny Goat channel. It's basically going to be a podcast / roundtable, just mishmash of just all sorts of talk and discussion with all of our favorite people on the Horny Goat channel. So, of course, we've got myself, Connor, a.k.o. Kayfabe, as your MC Hammer, if you will. We're, of course, joined by the sexy bear from upstairs, the Canadian basement.
Just next door to you for me. Just saying.
Well, he's technically upstairs. Well, he's upstairs in Canadian land. Of course, got the power couple themselves, Heather and JP. What's going on, guys?
I wouldn't call us the power couple, but okay.
The power bottoms. That's what I'm going to call it.
Fine. Power bottoms it is then. Fine.
He does have a nicer ass than I do. I'm just saying that now.
I'll be the judge of that. I need to see JP's ass first. And, of course, we also have...
Oh, wait, hold on just a second. You're telling me that you've seen Heather's ass?
No, I'm saying I have to see your ass first.
I've seen his ass. It's pretty good.
You've never seen my ass.
You think...
I have.
Now I'm jealous.
Not without clothes on. Thank God he had clothes on. But I can attest that he has some powerful legs.
Yeah.
Apple bottom jeans and the boots with...
He needs to have those powerful legs to hold up that big ass.
Nice calf. Well, I appreciate that.
That's why his calves are so strong. Because his ass
And I was worried-
meeting him for
plump.
the first time. And if actually on the way over to the fucking bar, the first time we met each other, all three of us met each other, I actually remarked about your calves, and then right after that, you fell off the curb and said, "Ow, my ankle."
What a beautiful meeting. And, of course, the lovely Gina. What's going on, Gina? The introduction not needed, obviously.
Hi. I'm super fucking tired. I just woke up. So, yay. Go.
Fuck
no
up,
sleep.
Buttercup.
No bugs.
So, no bucks given
What's up,
indeed.
Jurgen?
So if you guys are watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button and also join in the conversation in the chat, as we'll be reading some stuff out there live chat and possibly throwing some polls as well. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, what the hell are you doing for? Hit that subscribe button. And coming soon, this show will be available on podcasting audio platforms such as Spotify, Apple, all those fun ones. You guys can download us on the go too. So it'll be fun little audio get together. So we got some topics to talk about, but we are obviously testing the waters with this. So it might be a little rough around the edges as far as...
So I do want to say, can I say something, Connor? I do want to say, if you guys have something you want us to talk about, do not be afraid to DM any one of us. My DMs are way open. Just DM us, and we'll take it under consideration and probably talk about it.
You can throw it in the chat, too. And I'm looking at the chat here, so I'll see it. If you guys have anything on your mind.
So we have a couple topics to, of course, kick us off and kick things off to kind of get the conversations going, but doesn't necessarily mean we're going to have to stick with those specific topics. We can obviously, it's going to be kind of going all over the place. Again, this maiden voyage has already been hit in the head with a champagne bottle. So we're going to try and keep this gravy train rolling. So we got a couple of things. Well, first off, I guess we should start off with, I guess the most generic one. This is like the first episode, not only of the show on this channel, but it's kind of like, I know we've done a couple streams before, but this is kind of like our first like big public stream of 2022 outside of anything gaming. So 2021 kind of sucked.
Yeah, I think I always said, and I think I said it that night. I'm like, for me, it was just another year. Was it a bad year? Sure. I've had some bad moments in the year, but who doesn't have bad moments in the year? Some worse than others. But what can I say?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help with the situation of the world as it is right now, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, a bunch of things, not like for me, like at least I know for you, JP, like personal things in your own personal life. And then you add on all the fucking bullshit that goes on in everywhere else in the world. And it's like, oh, God. It wasn't a great year, but, I get what you're saying. It's just another year. I find like you have a good year and then a couple bad, and then a good year and a couple bad. Just
I feel like 2021
Coming
was
back.
like I got shot 10 times in 2020 with like a with a gun. But I only got shot 8 times in 2021. I still got shot. It just wasn't as many times as I thought I was going to get shot.
Yeah,
See,
it's not great.
2021 for me wasn't bad. 2022 started off bad for me.
Yep.
Like this year's already started off bad for me. But 2021 I had my ups and downs just like everybody else, but I think that that's just going around in the world in general with what everybody is dealing with right now. But 2022 can kiss my ass already.
Just grab it by the throat and fucking just beat the shit out of it. What about you, Heather? How about, I mean, I know that you obviously had without going into, I got the Mary Kay stuff started off for you, and you've been kicking ass at that. Cheap plug, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Yeah, it's been 2021 has been certainly peaks and valleys in this household in general. But it's one of those things that you get the bad news and you have to keep on plugging along. Yeah.
This is my 2021.
Well, I mean, my situation here is slightly different than you guys. Like, we've been back and forth in fucking lockdown since the last 2 years. I feel bad for the small businesses and stuff like that because they keep opening and they buy all this fucking shit.
The next day.
And it closed the next day, and half those businesses have closed. I've seen a couple around me just go completely out of business. So I don't know, man. It's not easy to be like an actual entrepreneur nowadays.
We've been
lucky.
lucky.
We've been lucky, but even with that, there's a movie theater not too far from us that is closed forever now because of this.
The crazy thing is, I have seen more places open around me within the past 2 years than ever in my life. Like my town, JP and Heather can attest to this because they've been in my town. My town it's a very small town, and it was kind of dying off. Like for real, all of the shops uptown were closing down, and it's been going kind of steadily like that pretty much my entire life. Like growing up, there was just less and less and less shops uptown. But within like these past 2 years, we got a coffee shop / cafe uptown now. We've got like a fucking boutique uptown. Like there's just a bunch of new businesses opening up, and I'm sitting here going, are you sure this is the best time to be venturing into a new business?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Especially in a small town, because like a small town, it's hard enough to get business,
It might be the fact that like I think the cost of like purchasing said business and like operating like at least here, because businesses are having problems staying afloat, you'll probably get a basement bargain deal on a business, like an actual business property. But the risk is obviously you might not ever be able to open.
I know a new Mexican restaurant opened up in the town next to me, and they had amazing food. First of all, their food was like fucking best Mexican restaurant we've had around here since my whole life, right? But they're already out of business because with a pandemic and everything. They were even going as far as they had a food truck, that they were taking to businesses. They would come to my work when I was there, and they would like sell tacos, fajitas, burritos, whatever during lunch, and even that they couldn't stay afloat.
Well, now there's so much work from home. Like, what the fuck?
I was going to say, I am curious how many businesses, like, just what we were just talking about. I am curious, like, how many businesses actually, once the reports and everything come out, how many opened in 2021? Obviously we had like a shit ton closed. Kind of going off of what Basement said earlier. And for those of you who are just joining in for the first time, let's vaguely tell everybody where. I mean, obviously Canadian Basement's from Alaska. So, and then Heather and JP are living up in Wisconsin, and then of course we've got Gina over in good old fashioned Minnesota. Don't you know?
Minnesota.
Don't you know? We do say a lot.
It just seems to fit with
you
that
say
accent, though.
you say A more than basement does. But anyway,
I
and then
know.
I'm from Massachusetts. I'm from Massachusetts, and kind of going off of what basement said, we're kind of like we were in this like weird zone, but right now, we're starting to slowly creep back into lockdown again.
Yes,
We're starting
we
to
are.
like we've gotten in Boston. There's in Boston a couple of neighboring cities right around Boston, mask mandates indoors, and it's starting to spread out because the numbers are starting to climb up. But even though we're one of the most like
I just don't
vaccinated
get
states.
it anymore. It's like they come up with reports, oh, everyone's gonna get it multiple times. And our population is like 90% vaccinated. Why are we going into lockdown? If you're gonna get it anyway.
Because they're gonna panic.
They're in a panic. It's a panic. It's observation. It's panic mode, and panic mode has been like you say. I don't wear a mask, and people are like, "Oh my god, you're gonna make other people sick." I'm like, "Oh my god, am I though?"
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's all bullshit. I mean, it's not all bullshit, but a lot of it is bullshit.
Here's the thing. I might end up having to homeschool my child next year because my child was born with a heart defect, and I am not comfortable getting said pokey pokey for my child. And because of that, I may not be able to enroll her in the public school that she goes to, so I might have no choice but to do homeschooling for her next year.
Gina,
Simply
is
because
there a way that they can test for that
test for what?
to see whether or not it would affect her the way?
I mean,
I have talked to her doctor before, and there's no test that they can do, but it is a risk. And the doctor said it is a high risk because there has been more than they're letting on of adolescents that have developed heart problems. And
I haven't heard
that
about the adolescent stuff.
Adolescents have had these are adolescents that have had no history of heart problems. So when you take an adolescent that has history of heart problems, that kind of makes it even more
it stacks up.
yeah, it kind of makes it even more the likelihood of it being dangerous.
Yeah.
So basically her doctor has told me it's kind of up to me whether or not I want to take that risk, and I'm just not willing.
I was just gonna say, you are the parent. You ultimately have that. Yes, there's gonna be consequences. Yes, you're gonna have to homeschool her.
But she's gonna be safe. You know, I mean,
yes, you're ultimately yes.
And it's not like it's not like it's going to be the worst choice either, because she will still have her friends in your complex.
Yeah, exactly. You know, but like, and not only that, but there's plenty of work from home jobs that I can apply to where I can work from home and I can still, you know, homeschool her, because the homeschooling, like she would go to the same thing that Austin went to, and that is anybody out there that knows what K-12 is.
I only know K-9.
Shut up. No, but K-12 is basically it's a school.
Wait, isn't that like a mountain?
No, it's a school. They supply your child has a teacher just like they would in normal elementary school. Elementary does require a little bit more hands-on with the kids if they need help or assistance or something like that. But your child still has a teacher. They're still in a classroom setting, despite the fact of being at home. You know, so if I have to do it, then that's what I have to do. Do I want to take her out of public school? Not necessarily, because I think it's good for her to have, like, you know, contact with kids on a daily basis. But as Heather said, I live in a place where there are children running around all day, every day. So she would still be able to get that contact.
She would still get the socialization that she needs to further develop her personality.
Exactly.
So it's not one of the worst things that could happen. And your son Austin used K-12 too.
Yes, he did.
So
I mean, both my kids have got it this point. The whole family got it at this point. Every single one of us. In fact, pretty sure one of the little bundles of joy brought it home because she was sick with a fever. I told you guys this already. She's sick with a fever, and then it's like, oh, let's test everybody. Shit. And it just went down the line. But that being said, I mean, I threw a little poll in the chat for anybody who's watching us on YouTube live.
Throw a little poll
If 2021 better than 2020 so far, 75% of people saying that at least they thought 2021 was better than 2020. But that being said, taking away the pains in the asses and even though it was a better year than 2020, everything that was frustrating with 2021, I'm not a big New Year's resolution person.
No.
I'm a big person, but I'm not a big New Year's resolution person. So, you guys looking forward to anything in 2022? Is there anything like on like, I don't want to say like a resolution, but like, oh man, this year I'm gonna X, Y, and Z. Not that I'm holding anybody to anything here in this episode, but is there anything like, oh man, 2022? I think, yeah, let's fucking. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna X, Y, and Z it.
I want to get a new job.
Yeah, you need a new job.
Yeah, you do.
Your job is treating you like such shit, man. You need a new job.
Well, I am still waiting
to exhale.
I am. And I think you know what I'm talking about. I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
We're waiting for that tragedy to happen.
Waiting for that, and then like 2022 will actually start for you, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we're prepared for it, but
as best as you can be for something like that.
You're never really prepared for the actual moment in and of itself, but you know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're once I'm more caught up in that than I am anything else right now.
Which is completely understandable.
Yeah.
But for me, 2021 is going to be the year where I try my damnedest to make this Mary Kay thing work.
You mean 2022?
2022?
Yeah. 22, yeah.
No, she's going in the past and changing everything.
Get
the PIM particles. Shove them up my ass.
I can do my damnedest to make this work so that I could still be that stay-at-home mom for one and not miss anything, whether she goes into dance, whether she goes into sports, or whether she goes into theater with her school. I don't care. I don't want to miss it.
Or gets her out of the house.
Yeah, buy a house too.
Oh,
well,
I've
given up that dream for completely.
God.
Buy a house, man. I can't even buy a fucking shed.
I've pretty much given up that dream as well. Basement, you are not alone.
The housing market in Massachusetts is fucking insane. I mean, it's
I'm with you.
You know, I know Heather. I know Heather's originally from New York. She knows what it's like up there too. Here it's not much different. I used to make jokes. This was like 5 years ago, but I used to make jokes with a coworker where it's like, we're passing by right now a nice little tool shed that you see that's no bigger than the size of a tree clubhouse. Current estimating value at this in Massachusetts is approximately $565,000, and it would be. You fucking see these
kid you not.
That just
here we had it was a garage. And and it was $1.2 million for a garage. You'd have to plow the part, and the land wasn't big or anything like that, right? So you'd have to destroy the garage. It was like separate garage from the house, and the house sold separately, right? They didn't buy, I guess, the garage. The garage was
house sold separately.
Well, it's like a garage separate from the house.
No, but just that phrase is just great. I think that should be.
If you want the garage, it's going to be an extra 1.2
separately.
It's going to be an extra 1.2 million. So fuck that shit.
Jesus. Gina, I know you said you didn't have the greatest start to the year, but I mean, do you think there's any like anything positive coming down the line, or anything you're like, I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of this fucking year?
I really hope.
Oh, we swear, by the way.
Stuff, but no shit. Considering that we started off the show with me going something along the lines of like "fucking go" or some shit like that. But
I don't know. You were talking about watering your bush.
Listen, we'll talk about that later. No.
We will.
Year started off really fucking rocky for me.
Rocky Road.
Yeah, most people know because my life is pretty much an open book. Most people know that I was laid off on January 2nd, my first day back after the holidays.
Somebody's getting laid. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, God, yeah, okay. But yeah, with no guarantees of if it's if we're going to be brought back or when we're going to be brought back, and it's sounding like a big if right now. And then to top it off, I've been having my neck's getting worse. So 2022, I think my first thing that I want to get handled is the neck, because the migraines, and I'm losing grip of I'm not losing. I lost grip completely of my left hand. So that's going to be the big thing. Just figuring out what the fuck's going on with that and trying to get it taken care of so that I can find some sort of work again.
It's going to be a struggle for at least your like physical stuff originally, but you'll be like all the better for it once you get it done.
Well, exactly, and I it's my own fault because I've been putting it off because I wanted to get back to work so badly. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, the migraines started quite a while ago already, and I just kind of tolerated them, and put up with them. And then within the past probably month and a half, 2 months, I started losing grip in my left hand to where now I pretty much can't trust myself to hold anything in my left hand. This isn't a sob story. This is just me saying, I want to get this taken care of so that I can get my life back on fucking track.
I have not seen a doctor or a dentist in God knows how.
Oh my God. I've seen 1 trillion doctors.
I think, oh my God, that's right. I forgot about that for a hot minute. Of just like, is Basement here?
You forgot we almost lost Basement twice?
Yeah, oh my God.
You'll never lose me. I'll just leave.
No, I never want to.
No, listen, you can leave Basement. I'm going to give you the iconic. Listen, I'm going to give you the iconic. You can leave, but I'll send you.
No, I made it a point. I'm like, you know what? I haven't seen like a couple years, and then I stepped on the scale. I'm like, oh no, yeah, I need to go see a doctor. And then the dentist part, I've had this chipped tooth.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw your tooth. Remember you showed it? Yeah.
Yep. So here's the thing. Well, here's the fucked up part, right? So I have a back tooth that is like it's broken and black, and it looks pretty bad, but I have no pain from it, zero. However,
that means the root is already dead.
Yeah.
Right. However, the problem I'm now having is I'm probably going to the opposite tooth going on the roof of my mouth is growing out, so it's being pushed this way.
Do you have wisdom teeth coming in?
Is the wisdom tooth on the back top? I thought it was on the back
way
bottom.
At the back, at both.
You have wisdom teeth and
then yeah, it's my wisdom teeth. Then,
they will impact your jaw, so your teeth were all smashed together.
That means I'm going to be high as a fucking kite, and someone's going to have to drive me home, and I need to record that. Yeah.
I didn't find it too bad.
Babe, if you ever hear this show, please record him.
What's up, Casey?
I just cherish you taking me, and I really value you taking me to the dentist.
Charlie bit my finger, so I sucked his dick. God.
So it'll be really. Yeah.
I have to make a physical appointment to get a
ass check.
I get the finger in the.
I will get to see.
Do they still do finger in the butt, or is it like done some other way?
You know what?
There are several options he can go with because of COVID popping up.
Buy me a drink first.
Best and most accurate way is finger up the butt.
I want virtual finger up the ass.
But you can do the smear. You can do the smear stick now.
Oh, what are you talking about? The Daffy Duck?
No, you poop and then you just poop. You smear. I'm serious. You poop and you smear your poop on a stick and then you send it into the lab and they can test the test.
No, I think they have to check for like growths in your asshole.
I just picture a closed bathroom door with a light on. You don't see anything, but you just hear JP like, "What the fucking?
Hey, fucking story time with JP."
Oh God, we haven't even got to the first topic really yet. But all right, let's go.
I was having stomach issues like back in 2016, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I had Crohn's disease or, so they'd like, well, here you go. You got to, they give me these 3 bottles and a baggie. Yeah. Okay, you need to poop in this and then scoop your poop into this and then scoop your poop into this and then take your
Why are you scooping your poop in everywhere?
Bring it back to us. So I had to keep pooping my fridge. So the day that I did it, because I was
That's fucking
constipated like a
disgusting.
motherfucker. Wait, I was constipated like a motherfucker, so I couldn't poop. So finally,
it's
when
a
I
monster,
pooped,
wasn't it?
I had to, when you have your kids, they eat a quarter, you got to poop in this thing, and then I had to poop in one of those, and then I scooped poop in there. I had it all over my fucking hands.
Oh,
And Mom was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I gotta scoop this poop into this thing." She's like, "Well, hurry it up! I gotta take a shit."
It's like in
So
Cobra
I go
Kai.
in the bathroom.
I'm making change.
I'm like, I can't open the door, and my mom's like,
It's like
"I
that
got
scene.
shit all over my hands, Mom. All right."
It's like that scene from the Dumb and Dumber prequel where there's just shit everywhere and Bob Saget comes in and flips the fuck out. There's shit everywhere.
It's like in,
I didn't have shit everywhere. It's just all over my hands because I dropped some.
Oh my
Oh.
god. This is like a comedy of
I caught
errors.
I caught it in my hand.
Oh, thank God you caught it.
I was wearing gloves. Don't get fucking excited. I was wearing rubber gloves.
That doesn't
Sure.
help.
Not gonna
Well, that
touch-
just killed my buzz.
Scenario. Listen, this is a grown-ass man playing in poop like a toddler.
It's like the scene in Cobra Kai
Do.
when they have to catch the koi fish, but it's a shit instead.
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Anyways, back to the dentist story. I know how you feel, Connor, because I have to go to the dentist too, as everybody probably
I
has
do too.
noticed. I have a chipped front tooth, so I have to go and get that shit fixed. It's my dad's cooking. I blame my dad's cooking because
Really?
I literally listen. My dad is like the best cook, but
Does he
sometimes
cook rocks?
no, listen. Sometimes when he makes stuff, he'll accident a bone will accidentally get in there, right?
Oh,
And I had just had my fucking teeth fixed right before this. And my dad made chicken and rice. And I
Chicken
fucking
and
love
rice.
my dad's chicken and rice. So I was
Don't you
like
mean it's
fucking
bone and rice?
I was like fucking going to town on this shit, right? And all of a sudden I bite down and I bite into a fucking bone. And I had no clue that I had chipped my tooth until Bella actually, like, I was talking and Bella goes, Mom, I think you chipped your tooth. And I go, no, shit. I go, literally said, shut the fuck up. To my 10-year-old. So, like, she looks at me and I go, I'm sorry, baby. But I'm like, no, you're joking with me. And my mom's like, no, she's not. So I go jut out of the fucking chair, run to the bathroom, and I am just bitching because my freshly fucking fixed tooth is chipped. But it's not even the one that was chipped before. It's the other one.
jeez. That happened with mine where like I was chewing something that wasn't hard, but it was like mashed potatoes or something like that. It was just like, I'm like, that's weird. There's a texture in this thing that shouldn't be there. I'm like, it's not a bone.
It's your tooth. Yeah.
Huh.
Technically, it is kind of like a bone.
That happened. So I'm gonna end over the poll here because we had a lot of people vote on the poll. We had 6 of you guys vote and said that overall you thought 2021 was a little bit better than 2020, and we appreciate all you guys joining. We got a lot of you guys actually joining us in the chat. I want to give a quick some loving to the chat. Of course, we have Alpha Jurgen, my Jurgen. We've also got Casey is Raw. What's going on, everybody? Thank you
He
all
did
so
his
much for
first
tuning in.
colonoscopy this year.
I am not looking forward to that.
That's
Oh
what
well,
I'm talking about. I got to get
I
my
s-
first colonoscopy,
I
dude.
sort of am. I
You
just
can
need a
talk to
stiff
Casey about
drink.
it. You know,
I need a buzz
show
ball
you the
before I go.
ropes.
Yeah, I just know he's going to be very irritable because with that he has to chug a gallon of liquid.
Yep.
Yeah, you got to clear yourself out. Yep, you can't.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
This is
Um,
why next house we live in has to have 2 bathrooms.
I was just
Yeah,
gonna
oh my
say,
God.
like, the apartment you guys live in has 1 fucking bathroom. So good luck
Same
with
here.
that shit all
If
day.
anything, I'm looking forward to 2022 is cutting my poops in half.
Like with a knife.
Or
The
with your
time
butt
that it
cheeks.
takes you to take a shit.
Do you snip them with your
25
butt cheeks?
hours on the goddamn toilet for one little pebble.
It sucks. It's the worst.
I mean,
It's
what
the
kind of like? I
worst.
mean, most of my poops are like just relatively solid and long.
I
you are the
feel like-
fastest shitter I know.
I know it just flies out of me.
I don't know what you eat or what you do or
Fiber,
Pilates
man.
you pull, but like,
Fiber.
I feel like we're spending.
what do you
way
eat
too
an
much
entire
time
wicker
talking
swing
about
set?
shit.
Fiber One, man. Fiber One bars. So you're gonna shit your brains out in 2
I think
seconds.
you need Fiber 100 at this
Oh my
point.
god! I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was like fucking constipated like a motherfucker in basement. Every single time I talked to him, Fiber One,
Yeah,
you gotta eat fiber.
You gotta eat the fiber. You gotta Fiber One it, man.
Have you ever? So this is my problem. Have you ever had those poops where they break off, and you just feel like? And this is why I sit on there for like a half an hour because
It's not done. There's a sequel
little-
coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my issue.
He's sitting there
God,
waiting for Endgame.
You're like you can feel the blood vessels on the verge of popping, and you're just like, I'm almost there. And then it breaks off. You're like, now I have to try twice.
Or
as
if
hard.
you like feel like you have to shit like massively, you go and then you finish. You look down and it's like you're so disappointed in yourself.
This is why I am
All those
so
calories
fucking
burned.
glad-
It's like
why
this
I'm
is
so
not what I
fucking
expected.
glad that I live in an apartment that has 2 bathrooms.
Oh, God bless you. So we're going to switch gears real quick, and we're going to talk about one of the topics. We got a couple different topics to just kind of talk about and just kind of get the ball rolling, so to speak. And one of them was this whole thing about a swimsuit model, Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. Apparently, she was being tracked by her Apple AirTag. This was an interesting.
I don't have her.
Oh,
It was not hers.
It wasn't
Somebody
hers.
snuck into the dressing room, slipped it in, and stalked her to her home.
Clearly, I did my research.
Well, okay, so,
so-
this thing is like a fucking CIA tracking device. Like the
Well, okay, so
Well-
here's the thing. With Apple AirTags, this is what they're meant to do. Apple AirTags were designed to be able to, you can put them on a keychain, track your keys, track.
But did they not think that it could be used for nefarious purposes?
No,
Well, I don't think that they were thinking. Okay, so like,
I don't think they were thinking.
In order to use an Apple AirTag, you have to you can use them
Parrot.
with it. You can use them with Android devices, but they're actually designed for iPhones because
right.
they're activated by an iPhone when they have Bluetooth on. But the problem with that is whether you have an Android or an iPhone. Let's say you have an Android, okay, and you're at the bar, which this has happened to another woman. She was at the bar and somebody placed an AirTag in her purse. She had an Android phone, but yet when she left the bar, they were still able to track her because you got to remember, iPhones are fucking everywhere. Okay?
Right.
So everywhere you are walking, you could be passing by somebody that has an iPhone. And if they have that Bluetooth on, it is going to send whoever put the AirTag, whoever the actual owner of the AirTag is, it's going to send them your location.
How did they not like think of this being done? Like it blows my
Steve Jobs wasn't
mind.
around, obviously.
He ate
this
too much
is
fruit.
why this is another reason why when they switched over from having the headphone jack and the charging jack separate to everything being the same plug, that I knew there was going to be a problem in the future. I just didn't think it was going to go this far because my mind instantly went to, what if she is with a friend when she's older and somebody slipped one of them on her? They would have been tracking her, stalking her, and they would have kidnapped her.
But then I
Yep.
Would have been going to jail for killing the motherfucker.
I would have been.
Exactly.
I will find you and I will kill you.
After I poop.
It's such a it's obviously the idea is to have a tracking tool, but like you don't think it's going to be used for the worst fucking thing ever immediately? Come on.
But
It's Apple. They wanted to have their biggest cash
want
grab
money.
of the year when they came out with
Oh my god.
Exactly.
So stupid.
You know, and for the most part, it is a good idea, except they didn't think about this major fucking loophole. And okay, so we mentioned the one with her purse and the model, but there's been several women that have reported finding them on their cars.
Like this woman here, another thing.
There was another woman that found it on her luggage. They've just been found all over the place, and it says that the devices are designed to help people locate their items, such as keys, phones, pets, things like that. Because you can put it on like the leash of your pet, so that you don't have to actually have a chip installed.
I mean, it
to your
definitely has good uses, but you have to think of how it's going to be used poorly. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, here's how it works. The location of the AirTag is sent to the iCloud, and then it can be seen on a map.
Even worse. It's even worse.
If you have an iPhone, you can use the Find My Phone app on the iPhone, and you can actually track step-by-step directions following that AirTag.
I mean,
So
the thing is-
Baseman's got the point of like it's a genius idea for like relatively specific purposes, right?
Yes.
And real quick, I just threw a poll in the chat saying if people think this is a good idea or not, plus a link to the article. Give you guys an idea what we're talking about. And Basement threw a photo up of the person who apparently found it in their car. But like, it's good for specific purposes, right? Like, okay, if you lose your phone, or if like the cloud ID, I think makes it worse. But the only instance in that is if you have like, oh, the family is tied to it. Like, but you have to like limit the capability of the tracker and find a way to like, isolate it to only specific, you know what I mean? Like there's, if you leave it wide open, like fucking wild west, you are screwed.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Basement. No, go ahead.
The thing with the actual technology itself, it existed before this, right? I mean, obviously tracking technology has been around for a long time, but when a big public company makes it a hot buy item, it just promotes its use that much more, right? Oh my god.
I'm with Alpha in the chat. This is why I don't use Apple products.
The thing is,
fuck Apple.
It was built with the safety design in it. Okay, the lost AirTag is supposed to have a sound, but however, like that. Okay, if you have an AirTag that's not paired to your device, it's supposed to like create a sound on your phone, especially if you have an iPhone. Okay, and there is an AirTag on or near you that is not paired directly to your device. It's supposed to give you a warning signal, and it plays some sort of a song. I've never actually
You're being stalked. You're being stalked.
The problem.
I'm here.
But here's the problem. The AirTag sound doesn't go off until 3 days have passed, and the only iPhones that have updated to iOS 14.5 will get the on-screen notifications, which come after a couple of hours.
It just, the more you're reading the description of the specifics of this, I'm like, that's bad.
It's getting worse. It's getting worse.
Yeah, it's getting worse.
AirTags, they'll rape you.
It gets worse. It says on an iPhone with a U chip, currently the iPhone 11 and 12, you'll get a directional arrow that points you directly to the AirTag's location. So, it's basically like GPS.
I'm just picturing it's like a giant neon sign just gets emitted out from the sky, and it shoots fireworks with an arrow pointing down at your exact location.
I honestly
so
feel
helicopters.
Listen to this. This is the worst. This is the worst. Okay.
Okay.
Devices that relay the location of your AirTag also stay anonymous, and the location data is encrypted every step of the way. So not even Apple knows the location of your AirTag or the identity of the device that helps find it. So if somebody is stalking you, they will not be able to track that to prove that person was actually stalking you.
I want to take this time to thank our official sponsors for this episode of No Bucks Given. Apple, for their
AirTags. They give you life. No, I feel like
and they take it away.
I immediately think the main use of this shit is going to be, it could be used to find your dog or your keys or whatever, but people are going to use it to spy on their significant other and where they're going,
and
their kids. This is the main use of this fucking tool. Or stalking
Jesse.
And being a creep.
The big problem that domestic violence shelters had seen during the pandemic especially was victims of domestic violence were being tracked by their abusers using AirTags.
And that's why the women's abuse shelters here are kept hidden basically. They don't give out information and stuff like that. They can find them, but they're not they'll never tell you who's there or anything like that.
They don't tell them who's here either, but you got to think a woman that's out in a domestic violence shelter,
they're gonna tag you with the air.
Not only that, but she might still work. Somebody could go and put something in her coat at her work or in her purse.
It's just the massive creep tool. It's the creepiest fucking thing if you want it to be.
But I will say that Apple has started to do things in order to try to correct this problem. For one, with Android users, they have come up with an app, and I have the app in here somewhere, but I cannot find
it. Self-destructs it?
No, the app is called Tracker Assistance.
I feel like the device itself should have some sort of way to pin it to
Disconnect
who's
it once
using
you find
it.
it. Yeah.
So if you find it, you can take it to the police and say, this is not mine. The police will look at it, and by PIN number or something, they can associate it with this purchaser.
Or something like I like their Apple ID is so like this is you're searching under this. You know what I mean? Like something like that. And shout out to Randy also in the chat. What's up, Randy?
Yeah,
Viper?
Randy, my sexy babe.
So
One
it
lady did. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say, so it should have a serial. All of these devices have a serial number on them.
But that number should be linked to your Apple ID of whoever is using it.
What I'm saying is when you purchase it, that store knows the serial number.
But they're probably not going to keep the records forever. So, like
They
something
have
that
to.
and plus there should be easier methods of being able to identify people. I get where you're coming at, JP. Is that like realistically, if you took the time and broke
you
it
could,
down,
but it's going to take a long time for that to happen. A lot of red tape because
everything is computerized now.
Right.
So once that thing is purchased, that serial number should be tracked.
I do feel like for the express purpose of people using it for stalking and being creepy, there should be a fail-safe that allows the police to identify that person really quickly.
That's what I mean by that.
And that's what Apple's working on. It does say if somebody else's AirTag finds its way into your stuff, your iPhone will notice it's traveling with you and send you an alert after a while. If you still haven't found it, the AirTag will start playing a sound to let you know it's there. That's a safety measure for iPhone users, but they didn't have a safety measure for Android users.
But I just feel like there should be a way to be like, someone slipped this on me, and then you can get the police to fucking find out who that is.
One of the victims did go to the police, and that when the police got involved, I believe
then it's encrypted and they can do shit. They'll have to
but
go through
when the
JP's method.
Exactly. But when the police got
The
involved,
finger?
I believe that's when Apple started, making measures to change the thing. So it says Android users do have the app now. And it says, and anyone with an iPhone that hasn't yet updated to iOS 14.5 won't hear this AirTag. It isn't yours sound for as long as 3 days.
I mean, if you look at it, it's pretty fucking small.
It is.
It's like a foam thing.
Anywhere.
What is it like? Wasn't it like if someone goes missing after 48 hours, the chances of getting them back decreases by like over half? So 3 days, that's perfect. Anyway,
and I wasn't able to find anything on like what if any recent updates on if they've done things further to make them safer. But many of the articles that I was reading did say that Apple is working on trying to make them safer. I just don't know how they're going to be able to make them safer.
No matter what, you can't prevent somebody from using it for stalking. You can see if they find the item, then they can get you in trouble. But if they don't and you get fucking grabbed before that happens, that's that. Yeah.
I wish they would have thought of this shit before they launched it.
Especially a big company like Apple. Like, fuck.
In that aspect, it's very similar to like a fucking date rape, Jug. If you're at the bar and you get fucking date raped, drugged, if you get roofied, there's a good likelihood you could be fucked. And with AirTags, if they don't figure out a way to change what's going on, there's a good chance you could be fucked.
I mean, it still has a lot of good uses, but it still has a lot of good uses. It's just people will use things usually for the worst.
Agreed. Yeah.
How fucking like Basement and I were just talking about this actually last night. I think it was, and Heather, I think you might have been on with us yet too, about how like we are the most dangerous out of the animal kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're the only sorry.
This just proves it. Like, there's so many fucking predators out there, and you don't know who.
Like, it's shocking how many fucking weirdo freak creeps there are. Like, when you actually, like, look at the data of how many, like, fucking molesters and stalkers and people that just do weird shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, the sex offender list is full of hundreds.
I mean, chances are, like, someone, like, who knows? Someone you probably, like, see on a semi-regular basis is probably in some sort of weird fucking freaky shit.
Oh, I will say that I did. That's true. Yeah, it's definitely different. But I will say with the Apple AirTag thing, if you have an iPhone,
tag you, bitch.
Get a droid.
You can go in and change the settings for AirTags if you have an iPhone. You can change the settings to where blah blah blah. And I don't know if they've made that available to Android yet.
Just get a Droid. It makes it so much easier. Just fuck Apple.
Android is just better in every way. I don't see, except people are like, you can get a virus on your phone. Who the fuck is virus? I've never had a virus on my phone.
I disagree because I love my iPhone.
You might love your iPhone, but you would love your Samsung if you had one.
No, I love my iPhone. And the thing is with the AirTags, they're good if you have an iPhone.
But everything on Apple is so fucking expensive, and you have to buy Apple for it to work with Apple.
That's the problem right there, because when they put something like this out on the market, and you know that there could be a dangerous factor in it, and you make it to where only iPhone users can protect themselves against this thing. What do you expect is going to happen? I mean, you can't say, oh, well, if you have an iPhone, you're going to be fine, but if you have an Android, you're fucked.
Apple is fucking cashmere.
There was a rap battle parody between Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, and one of the lines was, "You never get a virus on an Apple." And he goes, "Well, you can still afford a doctor if you use a fucking PC." It's like, yeah, fucking no shit.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of Apple, my neighbor. I'm sorry, real quick story. My neighbor my neighbor tried to sell me his Apple computer.
No, don't get it.
No.
And I was like, well, first of all, I'm not. He's an older guy, and no offense to him or anything, but I don't know what kind of computer, what kind of shape his computer is in. So right away, I was like, man, I don't got the money for that, because this was
probably
like
put an AirTag in it.
He actually said this to me the day that I was going to return my computer and shit to work, because he seen me with my computer. And I said, man, I don't have the money for that. I was just laid off or whatever. But regardless of which, two factors. One, I don't know what kind of shape his computer's in. I don't like buying used computers off of people that I really don't know, because you don't know if they've had viruses.
I don't like buying used computers,
or anything like that.
Period.
And not only that, but it's a fucking Apple. And while I love my iPhone, I am not willing at 38 years old to retrain my brain to learn an Apple computer, because I have not used one of them motherfuckers.
Yeah, the OS is totally different and fucking hate
You know what? The new update for Windows is kind of like turning into... It looks like a fucking Mac now.
Yeah, I know. I saw it.
I'm looking at it right now.
Windows.
I just know how to use
thought
Windows
of this
way better.
I'm right there with you. Last thing before we switch gears, I just thought of this. It's like Apple comes out. It's like, listen, we've heard a lot of your problems, and we've heard a lot of major concerns with the Apple AirTag, and we understand that, the concern for safety and transparency. So instead of fixing any of the problems and issues you guys have submitted to us, we have decided to increase the issue, or make sure it's even worse, by adding a camera to every Apple AirTag.
And the price goes up, starting immediately. If you've already bought one, you owe us $10 more.
Pre-sales through the roof. All right. The poll actually went pretty much in the exact same direction. 71% of people thought that Apple AirTags are indeed a bad idea. And like we said, I think, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but like, great idea and concept, but they really need to buffer out a lot of the the obvious loopholes and security issues that we were just talking about with that article. But once again, I want to do cheap, shameless promotional plugs. If you haven't followed this entire sexy crew on social media, you can follow them. We'll put all their links for all their social media in the description later on. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, as we are trying to climb and inch our way to 500 subscribers. You guys have already smashed the like button 11 times, which is effing awesome. And again, shout out to everybody who's joining us in the chat as we're rolling right along with all these other fun little topics on our debut episode, as we're ironing out all the small little issues and little bumps in the road, because it's our first episode. It's the maiden voyage, champagne all around. But we got some other cool stuff to talk about. One of the things that I that we saw when we were throwing up articles and suggestions and ideas for topics was the whole idea of how many motherfucking flights have been canceled since this. We were talking about, obviously, the disease that shall not be named, that's going on throughout all of 2020 and 2021. Talking about businesses being affected and all that stuff. And one of the biggest ones was flights. And this article here, which I'll link to everybody in the chat in just a second, 28 28,000 flights have been canceled since about the middle of last year, but we're going into right into
28,000
Christmas Eve.
Since Christmas Eve.
Oh God, never mind. I was way the fuck off. I was gonna say I was double checking since Christmas Eve.
I think a lot of people are looking at
That's
like
insane.
the rules that will come along with traveling. Like here, I mean, in the past, it was like you leave the country, you come back, you got to spend fucking 14 days in a hotel that you have to pay for. And like, yeah.
I almost had this problem when I was coming back. I just recently took a trip to Disney with the family, and the flight back, which was with Delta. Surprised I didn't get dragged off the plane. We got offered. They kept increasing. Like, oh, we overbooked the flight. We're double. We're increasing the. Oh, we're gonna offer you this much money, this much money, this much money if you want to wait. I'm not gonna fucking wait around and do that shit. But I mean, that's a. Oh, you're surrendering your seat because they overbooked. As to like, hey, fuck you. The flight's just fucking canceled. That's a whole nother problem.
They have done so much, especially recently. I know just watching the news, there have been a lot of people at different airports all across the country that have been bitching, saying that they did not get notified of their flight's cancellation until like 20 minutes before they were supposed to board. So they were already at the airport. They had gone through security and all of that stuff, and then they find out their flight is canceled.
I'll tell you, traveling with
still going to Ohio, Columbus. The only fucking flight that's on time. Everything else is canceled.
I mean, I could just speak from experience in terms of recent travels. We lucked out. Obviously, we were very fortunate that our flights did not get canceled. But I mean, think of our situation. We were a family of 5 with 2 kids, no hotel coming back. I wasn't going to stick around and fucking wait around for that shit. No, effing way with an 11-year-old and a 5-year-old. And and a hungry wife. That ain't happening. Those are all 3 of those things are deadly combinations. But I mean, so I mean, I get it because it's an issue with like obviously now that things are starting to come back as far as like we're getting like peaks and valleys again when it comes to again the disease that shall not be named. So I mean it's kind of one of those things where it's once again like labor shortages could be affected, blah blah blah. But it's just like now it's having this like massive ripple effect now. It's just like jeez.
The thing is, it's not even just about the pandemic. Like the pandemic caused a lot of it. I will say that. But now with the new variant that's going, not the newest one, but the other one,
Transformers.
Exactly. But with that going on, that's a huge problem. Okay, but another big problem has been just, the weather. But that's to be expected. That we deal with that every single year. But you combine those two, and then you combine that along with the fact that since the start of this pandemic, approximately 50,000 airline workers have left the airline industry.
Oof.
Okay, that's 50,000 people across the world. Or I don't know if this is world or if this was United States, either way around. That is a big chunk of the airline industry. I realize the airline industry is a large company. Okay, so maybe not a big chunk, but that's a decent sized chunk. And they've only hired about 1,000 workers back. So they're still short 49,000 workers.
They don't want to work. Now,
No.
that being
But also
said,
an airport is like one of the places that you're probably going to be exposed the most to.
And that's
virus.
another thing. A lot of their workers that are still working have been exposed repeatedly.
So that's why the cancellation. That's why all the cancellations, because they have no flight attendants to take that flight.
Do you think it's also like people canceling their flights as well?
That could
and not
be
having a full plane, so it's like it's not worth us to go because
Right.
we're paying now.
I'm gonna tell you something right now. I call complete and utter bullshit on that. Not saying you're complete and utter bullshit.
How dare you say I'm not complete and utter bullshit?
Then that's the reason why they're canceling flights. Shame on them, because I fly out of Madison, Wisconsin, and flying to Chicago, and it's a puddle jump. Essentially, you're just on a plane and then you're off the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Like,
There
is
have
it
been
like just
5 people? There have been 5 people on a plane.
Yeah.
I've literally been.
But if
on
you
a plane
have
with
like,
25 people.
if all of your flights for the day are down to like less than half, they're probably like, where are these? Okay, we don't really know like demographically where or not demographically, but like where they're going. Is it just inside the U.S. or is it like world travel?
From what I understand, the site that I got this information off of was within the United States. That's not including world travel.
Within
However,
the U.S., then I'm with JP then.
However, I do like nowhere in the article did it say anything about flights being canceled because there weren't enough passengers. Majority
Right.
of the article was talking about
Well, God, sorry.
the majority of the article was talking about these 28,000 flights that have been canceled have been due to weather conditions, the ongoing pandemic, and lack of
Usually,
workers.
weather
due to
conditions just
the,
delay a flight most of the time. They don't
Right, but I think they threw weather conditions in there just for the shits and giggles.
just
But
to be
not
like,
only
we're
that,
not the worst.
but the West Coast the Northwest Coast just got fucking nailed, and the East Coast is getting nailed as well. You know, so there have been a lot of flight cancellations due to both of them.
Plus, the pilots are just tired. They just want to take a nap.
Exactly.
Or
I
like
have
mine, people puking in the
actually-
aisles on the way home.
I have actually. So here's my only issue with the flight cancellations, and I don't know how it is now with them. But I flew out. I'm calling out the airline because I don't give a fuck. Because no bucks fucking given, right?
Oh.
American Airlines.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I was so my flight. I travel through
Cross that sponsor off the list.
government. so the government pays for my flight,
Mhm.
right? They didn't notify me that my flight was canceled until I got to the airport.
And this is
That's
happening
horseshit.
to that is what is happening to several people, JP, because that was a huge
Oh, but I'm saying that is where I have an issue.
Same.
If you're
That's
going to
terrible.
cancel
Yeah.
a flight, because they have my information. Because when I booked
Right.
that flight through the
Right.
website that I booked my flight through, they have my phone number. All they have to do is call me and say, "Hey, your flight got canceled."
or send a fucking
Right.
email.
I mean,
They-
think about how much
Text
you have
message
to.
for
Not only
fuck's
that,
sake.
not only that, they changed my flight without telling me.
Oh god.
Oh yeah, that
I can
So
tell you
my
right now,
flight-
it doesn't seem like
So
anybody knows how
I
to do their
needed
job
to be
anymore.
out there. I had to be out there on a certain day, and that day that I left, I had to be there that night for the next day.
yeah.
Yeah.
My flight wasn't for another 3 days later,
So you're going for no reason.
but
Mar-
it said, "No, you will find me another flight," and they did, but I didn't get there until.
Did you have like a layover somewhere else or some stupid bullshit?
And I flew out to Seattle, so I was up from 5:30 in the morning. I was up for almost 24 damn hours.
I would not
Yeah.
want to be anywhere near you.
Well, and honestly, that is that very very
I mean,
same,
he was drunk at the airport.
that very same thing is happening to a lot
I
of
would
people
be
now
too.
because the
Remember-
article said that people's flights were getting canceled up to 20 minutes before their flight was scheduled.
Well, think about how much
They
you
were
have to
already-
like.
They were already at the airport. They had gone through security. They had gone through all the measures. And on top of that, they had already put their luggage in. So now you have airports
Oh,
all
fuck.
across the United States that have hundreds of suitcases and bags that are unclaimed because
Yeah,
they
I saw that
did not-
photo.
they did not follow the passengers the way that they were supposed to follow the passengers. So people are
Jesus
waiting for the
Christ.
fucking bags too.
Think about how much work goes
Even
into
worse
traveling.
If you're on a business trip for a big meeting.
Which
Right.
I was.
But like,
Um,
sorry, before you go, Connor.
yeah, no worries.
The how much work you have to put. Like, okay, so say if you're like just a single person, you have a dog, you have a kid, say, or whatever, you have to find someone to take care of them. You have to put so many you got to get your
Ripple
cards
effect.
in order
In
before you
order,
leave,
right.
and then you get to the airport and they're like, yeah, you're not going for another 3 days. I literally squat down and take a shit right in the middle of the airport.
So you guys, there was that day that I sent those. I was listening to that music.
Yeah.
Remember that day?
Yeah, that
was
fucking
day,
same
and then these
song
two
on
people-
repeat.
these two people literally got off the plane, and the one girl's like, "I don't know why you're fucking yelling at me, like, and you're making a scene," but yet she was the one yelling at everybody. Like,
She
it was
crazy
like
bitch. Crazy
I felt
bitch.
sorry for the guy.
So we heard to kind of pivot off of this. I figured this would be a fun little story to get around. We've obviously heard JP's horror story at the airport. Gina, Basement, Heather, any of you guys have any
I have never
mishap airline stories?
I have never flown
I have
anywhere.
one.
Even coming out here, I took the train.
Wait, what? Wait. You've never been on a plane?
I've never been on a plane.
Oh.
For this reason alone.
The first plane
I
you're
hate
gonna go
flying.
on, you're gonna have to jump off. Skydiving.
I hate
Skydiving.
flying.
Want to go skydiving?
Go big,
Hold
go
on, Heather, are
home.
you afraid of flying, or is it just you just never had the chance to?
Never had to go anywhere where I had to fly.
Oh shit.
I hate
Uh-huh.
The flying
first and foremost.
sucks ass. Okay.
Well, it
Well,
does. It sucks.
I mean,
Big
I've
giant
only
I
ever had
loved it.
one good flight in my life. The rest were like terrible. Cause you're like
I-
squished in like sardines. The fucking
Yeah.
everyone's like
Rebreathing the
disgusting
same
for some
air.
reason. Everybody's like, "Oh, I'm on the airplane. I'll take off my shoes and put my feet in your face." Yeah, that's what I
See,
want.
Oh,
I
God,
didn't,
those
I didn't
fucking-
have. I've only been on one plane. Like I've only flown once. Bear, get away, doggy. Personal space, please. Sorry. My dog's like all
Talking
up
to
in my
your
head.
dog.
But I've only been on one plane, and it was for my senior class trip, and we went to Orlando, Florida. And the flight down, we were on a very small plane. You know, the majority was basically just my class, but we did have a few that was not a part of my class. There was probably maybe like 10 people that weren't a part of my class, just like regular people. And when we were leaving Minneapolis, that flight started off. We ended up on the plane. We had already boarded, and we ended up on the plane for an hour and a half before we got to take off because there was somebody that was too drunk to board the plane, so they had to find their luggage on the plane.
Wait. To just ride the plane, they were too drunk to just get on it?
They wouldn't
pretty
let
funny.
them on the plane.
That's
because
bad. That's pretty
Well, I don't-
pretty intense.
I don't know exactly how drunk this person was, but basically they said that the marshals had stopped the person from getting on the plane because this is right after 9/11, mind you. 9/11
okay.
happened, and then
Drunk guy's gonna take over
and-
the plane.
Well, 9/11 happened, and then we flew in March. So the whole airport is covered with armed National Guard members. We have U.S. Marshals on the plane, even though our plane was only big enough to carry like 60 people. We still had
Shit.
U.S. Marshals on the plane. But apparently the Marshals found this guy because he was very belligerent. So he found him to be a danger to the flight, and especially they didn't want him on a flight with a bunch of kids. So they wouldn't let him get on the plane. Okay.
I mean, that,
They had
Yeah.
had him hand over all of his AirTags and get the fuck out.
that was us leaving the airport. So we were in the plane for an hour and a half before we even got to fucking take off. Okay.
ooh.
And then on the way back, Minnesota was in the middle of a winter storm at the time. So we hit
Shocker.
turbulence. We hit no shit. We hit turbulence above Minneapolis, and there was a drunk guy on my plane. Okay. This guy got drunk while on the plane.
That's
And
how
we
it's
had to turn-
done.
We hit the
Yeah, that's
turbulence. We hit the turbulence, and this guy starts freaking the fuck out and saying, "We're all gonna fucking die," just like screaming. And
Gonna go over well.
I won't say my teacher's name, but we had chaperones along, and one of our chaperones had never flown before. He was terrified of flying, right? Just absolutely terrified. To the point where, like, I'm not even shitting you. This guy took so much Dramamine that he was actually drunk off of Dramamine. So
That's the way to do it.
yeah, he was like belligerent himself. But this guy is like standing up and he is freaking the fuck out saying, "We're all gonna fucking die." And my chaperone stood up, turned around, and he goes, "There's the kids on this fucking plane. Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna fucking kill you."
Oh Jesus! Now he's going to jail for threatening
Yep.
to kill somebody on
No,
fire.
actually, no, actually, then we figured out. Listen, it was kind of cool because we got to figure out who the U.S. Marshals were on our plane. They didn't go after my chaperone, luckily, but they did go after the drunk guy, and the drunk guy had to spend the rest of the flight sitting in back by the U.S. Marshals. So that's my story.
Can't imagine why.
I've got like multiple bad stories.
Yeah, so do I. You go first, Basement.
Well, I mean, just one is not really a flight story. I guess it's like if you go, like, I don't know how it is, like in the U.S. I'm assuming it's a lot like here. Like you have like police there and everything, but like at the actual airport, but they're just regular police. I don't know. I was in like a different world, man. Went to like fucking. I think we landed in like Prague or something in Europe.
Oh,
it was like Rainbow Six fucking SWAT team all over the place. I was like, man, this is fucked up. Everyone had a MP5 or fucking UMP.
Gas masks and
gas
shit.
masks. You couldn't see no skin showing. I don't know. They were like fucking. It was crazy.
Was this before or after you partaked in some good stuff?
The Royal Guards from Wait, it looked like the Royal Guards from Arcane.
Like it was ridiculous, man. I'm like, holy shit! Like they were ready. Like they could have killed everyone in there with just one person. But the other one, I had two bad ones. One, I was going to like I think it was Dominican or something, like one of those places. And it's only like a 3.5 hour flight. We get on the plane. And the plane can't start or won't take off. They needed to order a fucking part for the plane. And they didn't allow any of us to leave the plane. We sat on the fucking tarmac for like 6 hours. And then, so like, okay, it was we were only going to go for 4 days. And we were supposed to get there noon. We ended up getting there like 9 p.m.
Ooh.
And it was like, what? You basically lost money because you lost time, right?
Oh my god,
that was terrible. But the worst one was I was returning to Canada, and the landing gear didn't come down. It wouldn't come down. It was stuck in the plane. So we literally circled the airport for like 2 hours. Well, I guess they just kept trying.
Okay, that's
and it was like getting scary because, like, I mean, they only usually have X amount of fuel for the trip they're taking, not necessarily thinking they're gonna have to circle around for forever. But eventually, it did come down. But holy shit, man! People started to freak out after a while. After like an hour of circling, people were like, "God, we're gonna have to make some sort of like emergency landing crash."
Do you know what that tells me, Basement? Every group of friends has that one friend that you just don't want to get on a plane with.
No,
you are my friend.
No, I've been on several planes. Okay, most of them are good, 75%, 80%.
I love how this is. I love how all of our stories are going to make sure that Heather is super excited about being on her very first flight whenever she has to take her first flight.
I told Gina whenever she wanted, I would jump out of a plane with her.
Yes,
I'm not jumping.
we're going.
Listen, I am terrified of heights, but sign me up for skydiving.
I don't know.
You're going skydiving, bitch. You're
like
doing
I'm not.
You're doing
I just.
His name's
doing
Basement. Of course, he doesn't like being up and high. Yeah, I mean,
You're doing it.
Mine aren't as bad. My stories aren't as bad, but there are some interesting ones. One was my mother and I were flying down to Florida, and we were way in the back. We were the very last row. Now, my mom, for those of you who don't know, is a semi-retired registered nurse. She's worked at all the major hospitals in Massachusetts. She has a master's degree. She was in the head of the emergency rooms for a lot of these hospitals. So, needless to say, she knows her shit. We were flying down to Florida together. It was just me and her. We're in the back, and there's this like high school group or like a cheerleader group or something where these like younger girls, and one of them just fucking passes out right in the middle of the main hallway area, like the main, Now we kind of figured. My mom was like, I know what it is. She's probably dehydrated and she was nervous and all that stuff because it was an early flight and blah blah blah. So she knew it wasn't anything too extreme. So they drag her to the back. She had to have been like 16 or whatever. And my mom looks at me and she just goes, whatever you do, do not, I repeat, do not tell anybody that I am a nurse or that you know that I'm a nurse. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm not going to say anything. And as soon as she said that, they like, if there's any doctors or any medical professionals on the board of the flight, please come back to the back cabin. And she just unbuckles her seatbelt like, fucking bullshit, and then just like literally pivots around, and then she sits back down like 2 seconds later. She's like, she's fine, she just passed out. I'm like, doctors are there making it fucking worse. And then she's just frustrated. It was really funny. The Disney flight coming back, literally the last month, there was a family in front of us as we were landing. 3 kids, all 3 kids puked. One puked on the way up, one puked on the way down. The third one smelt the puke of the second one, and that made him puke. And it was in the hall. It was in like the main aisles and everything. And my son's sensitive to smell, so I'm like, if he takes one whiff of this, he's gonna puke, and it's just gonna be a fucking family recipe at this point. And they're like, oh, we have to decommission the plane in order to like clean this up. I'm like, oh my God, it's going to delay everything. But the worst flight experience that I had was when I went to Italy. So it was in high school, and the flight there was from Boston to Paris International. Only one movie played on the flight. I can't remember what flight service it was. Only one movie played on the flight. It was Finding Nemo. I know this because I watched it so many fucking times. And the best part of it was none of them were in English. Every single one was like French, German, Nemo. Nothing was in English. The way back was worse, though. So the day we left to go back home, we had to take 3 flights. We took one within Italy, so Italy to Italy. We took another one from Italy to Paris, and then the last one was supposed to be from Paris to Boston. We hit the Italy flight, no problem. We were the only ones on the plane. The Italy to Paris flight, no problem. We missed the Boston flight because the travel agents decide to inexplicably book the time periods between the 2 flights for 5 minutes. Literally, from the moment the plane landed to when the other plane took off, we had 5 minutes. Anybody who's been on a plane or knows how air travel works knows that it is physically fucking impossible. So we sat there.
It's like a half an hour between each one.
We're sitting in Paris International Airport, and I know what Basement's talking about because this was in 2003. So this was right after, like, not too long after 9/11. They were fucking like I swear to God, there was like SWAT teams with like bayonets on, like fucking in Paris International. And we're sitting there just watching the plane take off with all our luggage on it. Mind you, it was a Sunday. It was on February, like school vacation. We had school literally the next day, and we're literally calling our parents like, yeah, you know how you guys are waiting for us at the airport? You can go home now. Luckily, they comped us a room right outside the Eiffel Tower, and they comped us all the food we ever wanted. But I mean, shit. Oh man,
Yeah.
So yeah, air travel always fun.
I actually forgot I have a story eerily similar to yours. the one with your mom. My sister got married in the Caribbean, right? So we did like a destination wedding, and then on the way back, there was one of her guests that was had diabetes. And on the way back, I guess he like went overboard or whatever. And on the plane ride back, he started to like slip into like diabetic shock or some shit, man. Jesus. On the plane, and the same fucking announcement. Is there any doctors or medical professionals? And my sister's a nurse, right? So she's like, oh,
okay, yeah.
So like, they like literally had to like they had like I guess like that bag or whatever. They have an emergency bag. They had to like set up run an IV to this motherfucker, man. And as soon as they stopped, they had like ambulances on the tarmac to take him because he was like not good.
They weren't.
Yeah, that diabetic
that's
shit.
Not good.
You do not fuck with that stuff.
They were wondering if they had to make an emergency stop in like the U.S.
Well, that was what my mom was pissed off about because it was like she passed out. She knew it was just from seeing her in the hallway even before she passed out. She's like, she's just dehydrated and she didn't eat probably and blah. You know, it wasn't anything too major. Yeah. And then she's like, there's a doctor back there and like she's like, he's just making it worse and like it was just a fucking like a giant annoyance. But anywho, real quick to pivot off into a new category. I know JP was bringing this up earlier about the list of college football stars that are skipping bowl games 2022. Now, I will preface this right off the bat. I am not involved, or I don't know as much sports, obviously, as JP does, so he'll probably dominate most of this conversation, which I'm totally fine with. So is this something that's commonplace where they sit out to kind of wait for the draft?
Okay, so here's the thing. So in college football, they have not what is now called the college football playoff, right? Yep. And if you're not in the college football playoff, which there's 4 teams at this given time, these players are opting out because they don't think it's important for them to play in this game. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about scholarship football players who used up a scholarship for an entire year and are not going to play in a bowl game.
Well, and it's really fucked up too because, like, sorry, JP, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, my issue isn't. Here's my thought process on this whole thing. If I'm the coach of this team, the players that sat out, they're gonna be pretty high draft picks. Personally, if I'm a GM, I'm looking at their character and saying, if they're having a shitty season, they can be like, fuck this. I'm going to be Antonio Brown and just say, fuck it. I'm not going to fucking play.
Bye.
I'm a pussy, right? They're literally sitting out because they're more worried about the millions that they're going to lose if they get hurt.
Right.
Than the fucking guys on the, excuse my language, this really irks me. They're more worried about the money or themselves and not their teammates who they're leaving hanging when they know that they need him to probably win this game.
Well, and that's what I was just going to say. It's really fucked up because I really don't follow college football too much, but my cousin did play college football. And I remember he wasn't a starter. He was like a backup. But I remember LSU got into one of the bowl games when he was going to college. And it was being in a bowl game. It used to be something that was held at prestige, and like these players were proud that their team was in the bowl game. And not only that, but the NFL draft people that pick for the fucking drafts paid a really close attention to the bowl games. So if you're sitting out of the fucking bowl games, what did I say?
Well, that's what I mean. Like, is it really? And again, JP probably will answer this better than anybody else. Is that? I get where you're coming from. It's in terms of like, as like the reputation of them is tarnished because
I think it's a newer trend in sports in general.
Right,
it's tarnished because these GMs are like, well, I'll take talent over fucking them.
I feel like at this point in time, and it's not just in college football, it's in pretty much all levels of sport. There is like a push towards the diva. Like players are becoming these fucking divas, man. They make so much money and they are so invested in different businesses that they almost look at the sport as like, I'm going to be super rich regardless of what happens. And they think themselves bigger than the sport, which if the sport didn't exist, they wouldn't have a job. Yep, so like, I mean, and they kind of like spit on the roots of it. Like sometimes I hate it because you're supposed to honor it in some way, you know?
And that's what I was trying to get at with what I was saying, like being in a bowl game, there used to be a huge honor in that.
So that's the thing. So here's the thing. There is 4 really major bowls that it's the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, and the Fiesta Bowl. Our 4 Cotton Bowl is another one.
Punch Bowl.
Now I'm hungry.
So these are the bowls that used to be like, if you played in these bowls, it was almost as big as playing in the Super Bowl, and you played them on New Year's Day. Right. Well, now these players are saying, "Well, we're not playing for the national championship, so fuck you. I'm not playing.
So
I'm not going to get hurt."
My future is more important. My future is more important than my present.
You know what I personally would do if I was the coach? I'd be like, fine, you don't want to play. I understand this is your last.
In the past,
or whatever. But you're done.
In the past, this used to affect draft stock because it showed character flaws.
That's what I was getting at, yeah.
But nowadays, they just look at pure talent. They don't look as much as like, oh, this guy's a bad attitude guy. Like, eventually it catches up. If you're a bad attitude guy, eventually it catch up to you, and you will not be in the league.
Right.
Because you're not worth it.
Right. So the problem isn't that they're talented. The problem is their attitude sucks in my eyes. So
Right.
my issue is also with the fans saying, well, I don't want to see him get hurt. What does it fucking matter to you if he gets hurt? Well, it doesn't. The game don't matter.
So then he should never play any game if you don't want to see him get hurt.
That motherfucker. I want these fucking people that are saying that. Go tell those fucking 100 other kids, half of them who don't even have a fucking scholarship.
Like, this might be the zenith of their football career, getting ruined because some prima donna doesn't want to play.
I'm talking about these people, these fans that sit here and say, well, they don't want to get hurt. It doesn't
Why are they
matter.
playing football to begin with?
You're telling me it doesn't matter. Go ahead. Go tell that 320-pound offensive lineman who's working his ass off in that fucking game that it doesn't fucking matter.
And now they have to pick up the slack because some fucking bitch doesn't want to play.
Here's the thing. Anybody who truly
loves the sport
up with football and loves the sport is going to. There's an old saying, and JP's. I'm probably gonna botch it, but JP's gonna know what I'm saying. Every single game fucking matters.
Every game counts. Yeah.
In football, it does because
the season's so short. Yeah,
the season's so short. So this all stems from Kirk Herbstreit, ESPN. Saying that it seems to me, and I wholeheartedly agree with what he's saying, because he's essentially right along the line. We have kids today that don't care about playing football. All they care about is making millions of fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what he's saying, which is essentially what these kids are doing. What makes you think that you are bigger than a game?
Especially a game that is decades old, like the Rose Bowl.
And not only that, what's not to say you're crossing the street and go, ow, my ankle, and you find out that you broke your ankle and you're done for the year. Your draft status isn't going to be hurt because there was a player who is one of the top quarterbacks coming out in this draft this year that hurt his ankle in one of those fucking games that don't fucking matter.
You get so angry.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I get frustrated with it too because it's not, like I said, it's sports I watch too. I don't really watch college football, but it's in everything now. It's contaminated sports with prima donna behavior where the player is bigger than the sport. And it's like everyone is kowtowing to it or fucking falling and being like, okay, yeah, he's doing the right thing. No, he's not. Fucking like basketball is all fucking rest days. You got a guy 28 years old. How much fucking rest does he need?
If I'm the coach, and I agree with you, basketball players, they are the biggest prima donnas I've ever.
Oh my god, man, it's killing basketball to be honest.
So here, if I am a coach of a football team who has this player that is a top draft prospect. And I'm actually going to bring him in. I'm going to sit him down, and I'm going to ask him, are you going to play for me all games this year? If we make it to a bowl game, even if we don't get to the college football game,
that should be a conversation.
Are you going to play? Are you going to play? If that kid says no, get the fuck out of my office.
You ain't playing at all.
I'm stripping you of your scholarship. I'm giving it to somebody who fucking deserves it. They're gonna fucking play. If you think you're that fucking good, go ahead. Find somebody that's gonna fucking train you. You pay for it with your fucking money, and call your parents and tell them why you're not on scholarship here anymore. That's exactly what I do. And if the parents come after me, fuck you too. If the university comes after me, fuck you too.
Talent never trumps money. Talent never trumps hard work.
This kid thinks he's bigger than the fucking game.
Talent never trumps hard work. You need a talented hard worker is what you want.
Right.
Yes. Speaking of people who think that they are better than the game itself, I heard, don't know if this is true, but I heard that Antonio Brown, there's a team that is actually looking.
Of course, because he's got. Brown. The thing is, he'll bounce around the league until there's no one, like, he's gone on every fucking team. Because they'll take the chance to get someone of his caliber. They're like, oh, yeah, we can deal with his mental issues. No.
Did they say what team it was, Gina?
I did not see a team. All I heard was that it was a team.
JP, I'm going to throw this. I don't know if you know, like on ballpark, I'm not holding you anything about this. What would you say is the percentage of college football players that get drafted, realistically?
Well, there's 225 players.
The draft is
somewhere
huge.
between 225 and 235 players that get drafted, depending on compensatory picks and all that bullshit.
Yeah, I'm not even sure there's a why, but
how many college players are there? There's
120. Okay, so there's 120 football teams, and usually there's 100 players on a team in college.
So there you go.
They're only allowed 26 scholarships.
So you're thinking, okay.
So 235.
Math this late on a Saturday night, Jesus.
100 is.
Hold on, I'm Googling.
It's 120,000, I think. 12,000.
Okay, so it says there are 1,093,234 high school football players in the United States, and 6.5% of those high school players will play in the NCAA.
And then what percentage of that? Yeah.
The drop-off from college to the professional level is more dramatic at only 1.6% of college-level players will get drafted to the NFL.
I mean, it's hard to get to that level of sport.
Yeah. So, speaking of Antonio Brown, there's a reason why he was undrafted. And this is the reason why he was undrafted.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Speaking of which, Antonio Brown, I have an answer to what team. It's not actually an NFL team. It's actually the United States Football League, and it's the Tampa Bay Bandits.
Not surprised.
Not surprised, because they're looking for fucking media.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up in the fucking CFL, where all the
I was just about to say that
the dropouts end up.
Well, this team apparently has yet to add to its roster of 32 open spots. They have 32 open spots on the team. Isn't a football team only 32 players?
No.
There's 53 players on a team in the NFL.
53, yeah, thank you.
Well, there's 53 players on a team, but they're also allowed 16 practice squad guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
They have like the reserve squad for injuries and stuff like
that. No, I think in general consensus, I agree with JP, because I just didn't know enough about the whole process in terms of but I get it. It's a really big slam on the character. Plus, if there's only a small percentage that get in from college to NFL, which makes total sense. I just
imagine being that guy. It's just like he fucking takes off his shirt and leaves the fucking thing because he doesn't want to play. You are part of the 1% that made it there. And you're going to do this? Like, so many people have fucking destroyed their body trying to get the job you have.
Well, and
you treat it like that. Like, what the fuck?
The really fucked up part is this isn't the first time he's done it.
No.
And I realize
he's a head case, man.
Here's the thing.
He's done this. He's done something to this.
I realize that Colin Kaepernick is not a lot of people's favorite, right? I realize that. He's a douche canoe. I agree.
At least there was some sort of reasoning for what, no matter what you want to say about it.
Exactly, Basement. Whether I agree with what he did or not, not particularly, but I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But he was booted from the fucking NFL for doing this. Meanwhile,
I think he was booted because he was garbage.
Ripping his shirt off. Well, I understand, but I'm just using that as comparison. I mean, there's players in the NFL that have been kind of pushed away from the NFL for lesser reasons than what Antonio Brown did. He pretty much spit in his fucking team's face when he did it.
It's not even just that, Gina. He bought a fake vaccine card.
Which is why he was suspended for that. He was suspended for 3 games for doing that.
But shouldn't he be in jail for that? Isn't that fraudulent?
It is.
It's a fraudulent ID, but I guess the severity isn't that bad.
I see that the poll is out. Should college football players have the choice to not play bowl games? They do have a choice. The question should be, should the coaches have a choice to not to then take that?
But is the Rose Bowl the culmination of the year of football, or when does it take place in the season?
It's one of it's a big bowl. So the champion of the Big Ten, usually the champion of the Big Ten, plays in the Rose Bowl. The champion of the Pac-12 plays in the Rose Bowl. So it's a Pac-12 versus Big Ten thing.
But there's the season is technically over at that point, right? Or
Ohio State. Ohio
This
State
is wrote all the bowl games
it's
are
post.
postseason.
Yeah. So
post-
I mean,
yeah, it's one game.
you like if they're not going to look to return to the college team, it's not like the coach is not going to be able to really do anything.
Right.
He played. Okay, here's the problem. He played the 13 other games that they played in, but this one game I'm not going to play because I don't want to get fucking hurt.
No,
That
I
makes
agree with what you're saying 100%. It's just like the coach saying what power would the coach have if in this specific situation, if he didn't want to play a postseason bowl game, the coach is going to be like, now you
Well,
have to. If he's returning to college, I'd not have him on the team. But if
Right.
he's going directly to the NFL, what can they really do at that point?
right.
Yeah.
Well, they can pull their scholarship,
They can
which
pull their
means
scholarship.
that they would not have funding to finish their degree.
A lot
I'm
of times
sure they
have
probably
not
already
finished
have
it.
funding in some
No,
other
not
avenue.
always.
Yeah.
Not always.
So that being said, I think we got a couple. There was a couple small things I did want to kind of touch upon before we wrap things up because I think we actually transversed this episode pretty well. We were running pretty good for our maiden voyage. I did see Baseman, who does a wonderful job with the majority of our thumbnails, did post a couple of other additional images, and I kind of figured we did kind of talk about one of these things a little bit. Of course, a big thing we were talking about at the very beginning of the show was 2021 going into 2022, and literally on New Year's Eve, the passing of Betty White.
Yeah, fuck you.
And
Casey.
Excuse me.
I mean, how many
That-
times in the last years has it been like, she's the next to go? She's the next to go. I mean, she lived for a long fucking time.
I mean, listen, she died in her sleep, no diseases, no ailments. I mean, sign
Good.
me
Oh my
That
God.
was-
up.
Come on,
Listen.
best thing ever.
I don't. Okay, so I don't know if it's true, but one of her friends, I can't remember which one, Joan something.
B.
not
Arthur,
Joan,
no.
Betty Black.
not Joan Rivers. I can't remember. One of her friends from way back in the day. Okay, like an older actress had said that she had heard from another one of her friends that had talked to her assistant. Okay, and her assistant claims that Betty's last words that she mumbled before she passed in her sleep
Was
was
she in the
Alan.
fucking room while she's sleeping?
Was
Alan
Alan?
was her husband.
Oh,
Right.
I
Oh.
thought it was Alan.
And if that
Yeah.
if that is true, that's fucking beautiful, man.
Why is
I thought you were gonna say thank you for being a friend, but
Well,
No, if that's true, how fucking beautiful is that? She. I mean,
You right there, Basement?
Obviously it's hearsay. Basement's dying, and
he's
he's like,
thinking Jurassic Park. I know what he's thinking.
No,
right?
I went to search for because I wanted to get a picture of her when she was young. So I went to search, and then I saw
And you got nudes, didn't you?
no. The last search I did for Betty White was Betty White naked. Oh god! But if you haven't checked them out, she does have some nudes out there.
Yep. We were quick to share those amongst the group. I loved her on Golden Girls. I think it's funny. I watched some bloopers of her in not only Golden Girls, but I think she did another show.
He did
That was it,
many
thank you.
other shows.
The thing that impressed me the most was the fact that even if she forgot lines or something, she was so fucking quick that she was looking
God.
for the funny. So even when she screwed up and there was a blooper or whatever thing, she would find a way to make something funny of it. It was just really much smarter than I think a lot of people. I mean, she's obviously a national treasure, was a national treasure, but I think more so just my appreciation of damn, she was a lot more funnier and smarter than I think a lot of people, even more recently than people gave her credit for.
There's a reel going around on YouTube of Betty's funniest bloopers, right? And
Yep.
the majority of those are from Hot in Cleveland. And
Yeah.
Hot in Cleveland was formed, or it was performed in front of a live studio audience, and you can hear the studio audience just bust out laughing every single time that she fucks up because
There
she
was
always does something that's gold.
There was one, even just a simple thing where she was blowing out a birthday cake and it had 90 on it and one went out but the other didn't, and she didn't say anything. She just did this whole
Like, how fucking dare you?
No, like this like devastated look on her face, and I was in fucking tears. And then she
She's
just got
good,
angry and
like physical comedy actress, like facially at least, not physical.
so good,
Her body,
so
but
good.
if you look at that picture of her, she's got some good face cum gutters.
She
God.
she married a man from this area named Alan Ludden, and he owned one of the golf courses.
Oh, yeah, that's
near-
right. You were telling us about this. Yeah.
Yes, she was funny, but what she said about this area,
Ah, yes.
Well, I mean, in her opinion, I guess.
but she can go eat a dick because I'm from this area.
I mean,
Well,
I'd say a bunch of shit about the area I live in because it sucks.
It's
Dude, I hate the second place.
Is it not beautiful here?
Yes.
Yes, it has its moments where it smells like shit, but that's what happens when you live in a dairy area. So, I mean, but it's
I
beautiful.
mean, you're living in fucking farmland, and I will say I've never been to JP and Heatherstown, but I have been in that relative area along the Mississippi River, and it is fucking gorgeous.
It's very
Her
pretty.
husband kind of looks like a stand-in for Jeff Goldblum.
Yes. Oh, Betty White. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, Alan. I just saw the photo
I
of her.
know,
Yeah.
I will say this: she did have a nice body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a pretty woman, man. When she was younger.
Naked.
And we had some
Naked.
pepperoni, but
Yeah.
Um,
Well, there's nothing wrong with pepperoni nips. I like
Right.
pepperoni on pizza.
but
Why could I like them on
I-
nipple on fucking boobies? Boobies.
the one thing that I love about Betty White was she was just she always seemed like she was real.
Ready to give.
Like what you were seeing from her is her.
She looked like
You know,
a
and
giving
I love
lover.
The fact that, and I love the fact
Pepperoni.
that she was a World War II veteran. I mean, obviously it meant something different back then because she wasn't allowed in combat, but she's a veteran and her dimples, man, I fucking love her dimples.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean,
Not on her ass in her basement. Get your mind out of the gutter.
I do
The cum gutter.
I do appreciate that she was a veteran. She did care about the
She's
soldiers,
gonna take over you.
but I will not forgive her for what she said about
That's a
where
fair
I
statement.
grew up.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, Connor, can I say something really quick?
Yeah. Go for it.
No, you can't.
There's a thing going around on the internet called the Betty White Challenge. And I don't know if you guys have.
Oh,
heard
I saw you post that. I did not get a chance to see that. So what is that exactly?
I think it's just let me pull it up, but it is
Live to
something
99 and then die peacefully in your sleep.
No, it's something that I believe is
As I'll take that challenge.
I think you just broke JP with that one.
oh, it's a great fucking cause because everybody knows that.
Oh,
Betty
I think
White's
I
an
think I
animal
know
lover.
what this might be. I think this might be. Is it I don't want to spoil it, but is it like the on her birthday thing?
Yes.
Okay, I think I
knows
know what
that
this is,
Betty
yeah.
White was an animal lover. She is a huge,
Oh, yeah, I know what this is. Never mind.
huge animal lover, and they started this thing called the Betty White Challenge,
Kill
which I
3
just
dogs.
finally fucking found. Oh my God, shut up! I found it and then it's not okay. There it is. But basically, on her birthday, which is coming up, I believe this Friday.
Jesus Christ! it's her birthday's a week from Monday.
Jesus Christ. All right. So it's called Betty White Challenge. On January 17th, they're challenging everybody to donate $5 to animal rescues or shelters in her name. I just
Clearly,
thought that
JP's going to donate a dick.
I just thought that was something that was really fucking cool because not only is it going to a great cause because a lot of animal shelters are hurting really badly right now during the pandemic.
I think a lot of
You know,
people
you-
got animals during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But I mean,
True.
there are a lot of animal shelters that are struggling to feed the animals that they have during this pandemic because they haven't been getting as many donations as they normally do. So whether you're a fan of Betty White or you're a fan of animals, on January 17th, donate $5. If you have it, give it. If you don't,
Ain't getting it.
I got something. I just don't have it.
I will give money to animals. I love animals.
I love animals. Yeah, depends.
Last thing-
Snakes can literally go eat a dick.
The last thing I wanted to just briefly touch upon on the last subject here, and I was a little hesitant about bringing this up just because I don't want to make this into a something we bring up every single time.
Okay.
But I figured, what the hell? Let's at least throw it out there.
Yeah.
The recent batches of NXT releases.
Okay.
Specifically, we're looking at William Regal, Samoa Joe,
Not surprising.
Road Dogg, Scott
Yeah.
Armstrong. I think those are the big ones I can think of off the top of my head. Those are the big four
Right.
that a lot of people
Sure.
were big about. So, in
Right.
case you didn't obviously hear the news, they were released as of what, 2 to 3 days ago.
Listen,
Yeah.
I have to say it. I love Road Dogg. I do. He's my friend on Twitter. I absolutely love that guy. He is an amazing person. Okay. But you look at those four, you look at their age, and is it any fucking real surprise that they were released? Especially me personally. Okay, William Regal. He's at retirement age. Same with Road Dogg. Well, Road Dogg's probably not quite at retirement age, but he's almost there. Scott Armstrong, same thing. Samoa Joe, no big surprise.
Fat asses.
I love Samoa Joe, but the thing is, Samoa Joe is very accident prone, and he has not been in the ring in a long time. So I don't understand why people are getting so fucking up in arms about this shit.
And,
I can tell you why.
and they didn't say it was budget cuts this time.
Well, I think it's
Actually-
because they had Braun Breaker come out and fucking kick the
what?
NXT logo in half, and they're like, "Hey, it's
Here's
Triple H," and they're killing him.
Here's the thing. Samoa Joe, if anything, people should be proud and be fucking happy for Samoa Joe, because not only did he extend his contract a little bit, but he fucking milked the WWE for 6 months.
Well,
Being
somebody
fired
milked him
twice
for
in
6
less than a
months.
year.
Yes, because he got fired and then they brought him back, and then he milked. Well, you know what I mean. But then he
Yeah.
milked him for 6 months without. What was he on TV? Once, twice in that 6 month period.
Time's a lady.
He was champ.
He was, yeah.
Okay, fine. So he had, but he didn't have a very very short run as champion.
Yeah.
It wasn't a
Yeah.
long run. So if anything, be fucking happy for the guy, because he got 6 months longer, and now he gets another 60 days of severance pay or whatever.
90.
It's weird. NXT contracts are bizarre because sometimes they're 30, sometimes they're 90. It's a weird. It's a case by case basis.
But the thing is, was he signed to an NXT contract, or was he still on a WWE contract?
He had to have been. Well, good question. Very good question. Basement. What do you think about this whole shabacle?
I don't really care too much. I mean, the people that they
I know.
released, in my honest opinion, are people that they probably. I mean, it's obvious NXT is going in a different direction than it was in the past, and keeping around like some of the old stalwarts doesn't really make sense. A lot of people always, like, especially in the wrestling community, always want to make mountains out of molehills. They always want to make it be like a war and a fight, and they're killing Triple H. He got a heart attack now. They want to bury him. It's like, I don't know, maybe Triple H is in on this. Who knows? He hasn't said anything. Who cares?
Well, and here's the thing: Shawn Michaels is the only one that is left for the coaches in
They're never
NXT.
gonna get rid of him, though.
No,
Matt
I understand
Bloom is
that,
still
but-
there too, and Smiley and
Oh, okay.
oh my
So,
God,
I think it is Matt
Taylor, Terry Taylor. There's still a handful of them, but obviously this got a lot of attention because Regal's very beloved, Joe's very beloved.
Yeah, but they replaced Regal.
So here's my take, and here's my thing on it. I mean, William Regal, in my eyes, and I don't care. Oh, NXT is better than the main roster. Okay, but that's a problem. It should have always been developmental.
Agreed, 110%.
And what they're doing now essentially is making it
Mainstream.
developmental.
Yeah.
Well, and
Which
Whoa.
I am okay with. Now, I don't mind if they have some guys come back down and have some matches. You know, it is what it is. Let's say AJ Styles. Well, he is there because he's gonna have a match with what's his fucking nuts, Grayson Waller. But there's nothing if somebody gets hurt, there's nothing wrong with them going down there, and because they do it in Major League Baseball. If one of the major players gets hurt, like Ryan Braun did something to his back a few years ago, and they sent him down to the minors just to get some work in.
Yeah, just to get the ring rust off. You better bring somebody back.
Yeah, which
have
is
them,
smart.
have them have a
Everybody
month or
fucking
two
loses
run.
their fucking goddamn
Yeah.
utter
You know
shit
another-
over nothing. Go ahead.
Sorry, but another thing with William Regal, I think he was just ready to retire because his son is now in NXT.
And that's the thing.
He's really just a talking head at this point. Really.
These people on social media, like Basement said, they're making a molehill out of an
Everything
anthill.
has to be. They're screwing anything anybody does. They're screwing somebody all the time. They always go in that direction.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Sorry.
I'm just saying they make an anthill out of a molehill out of an anthill.
Mountains out of molehills.
Regal came out. He didn't say that he wanted to retire, but he did say, he goes, if you all want me to, you aren't going to get it from me. I'm not going to talk shit. I'm grateful for what they've done for me. So we don't know if they had a mutual, I'm kind of, because he had health issues not that long ago, correct?
Right.
Oh.
So what's to say? People sitting here saying, well, that fucking guy, fuck WWE. Vince is a douchebag. How do you know that he's like, I'm done?
I was about to say, let's be very transparent that obviously no one, with the exception of maybe Vince and Triple H to some extent, everyone's going to leave or retire at some point. Is it a fucking inevitability, right? On one hand, it's like, oh yeah, it's a bummer to see them go. It's like, oh well, that kind of, that sucks that they're leaving. But I think just realistically, it's kind of like, oh, that sucks. They have a chance to use their knowledge and be coaches, but other than that, it's not like, okay, Scott Armstrong. Scott Armstrong was fucking 60 years old. He's the oldest referee there. Yeah, time to go. He's still in great shape, but time to go. Road Dogg and William Regal. I mean, I know Regal was the GM on camera and really wasn't doing anything like on screen, but he was also doing a lot of the tryout stuff and being talent scout. Considering they're going an obvious fucking different direction from what they were doing before, it makes total perfect sense that they would have somebody else that lines up with the better direction of where they're going with it. Whether you agree or disagree with them saying, oh, they're not searching for indie talent anymore. They're going to be starting to do homegrown stuff. Whether you think that's good or bad, that's what they're going to do. So obviously they're going to put people in positions that are going to gear them towards that. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking obvious.
Well, I agree wholeheartedly. That's the thing. I don't think that WWE, this is why they got rid of Karrion Kross. This is because they're indie talent. They want to develop their own fucking talent.
Correct.
I understand that, but I still think that fucking getting rid of Killer Kross was amazing.
I don't think he was ever, and I know, I get what everybody's saying, but they wanted to turn him into a toy. Right, which is, again, what is WWE? What is their big thing? This is what everybody fucking knows WWE. They're all over in the fucking store.
Star Wars.
They're a toy. Thank you. That's exactly what WWE
You're not wrong.
is.
Yeah.
So for people to sit here and say, well, I can understand. Karrion Kross was never going to be anything in the main roster. Anyway.
The thing is, he could have been.
Here is the thing. Let me finish. Here is the reason why. WWE's not looking for the best wrestler in the world. They're looking for somebody that is marketable for them to grow their business. That's it.
I think he could have been that. Karrion Kross is not the best wrestler in the world. He's got a certain look to him that they didn't really capitalize on. They didn't really capitalize on how he can work the mic. I do feel like with WWE, and look at the past, they, for the most part, they already have the top guys they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's why he's gone.
Well, see,
that's the way I look at it.
Karrion Kross, if they would have situated him correctly, he could have been he could have been their next great heel. Like, if they would have done him correctly, which in my personal opinion, bringing him in off of the indies with the Killer Kross thing, I understand they need to rename him, obviously, because Killer Kross, not marketable to kids. But even renaming him to Karrion Kross, what they were doing in NXT with him, with Scarlett Bordeaux and all of that, fucking great heel work. And if they would have built on that...
Again, at that time, NXT was a different animal. NXT is not.
I understand what you're saying, JP, but what I'm saying is when they brought him up to the main roster, if they would have kept that character going, kept those two together, and kept them as this fucking fantastic heel team,
Yeah.
then he could have been great.
The problem is,
again, WWE does not care about heel or face. All they care about is who is marketable.
And that's she wasn't there because she popped a boob.
Yeah, she did pop a boob.
Well,
I would say that, like, I mean, WWE, it's not we've talked about this a million times. It's not the first time they have, in my opinion, fumbled a transition to the main roster. For some reason, there's the need to change something that's not broken there. And I've seen it, like, with him, Finn Balor, they got rid of the Demon. Aleister Black, they got rid of his entire entrance. Like, you get rid of these things, and what makes the character special, then one of the things that make the character special, then you're obviously going to end up with a mediocre product.
Honestly, for me, sorry, Connor, real quick. For me, one of the worst decisions that they made was to have Finn Balor lose as the Demon. Now, I understand that eventually it has to happen, blah, blah, blah. But at that time, I did not think that was a good move. And look what ended up happening. It ended up getting to the point where they eventually just took the Demon away. Because
they fucked up every character like that. The Fiend was dead on arrival.
Like, he kept on losing as the Demon. Like, over and over and over again on the main roster, he was losing as the Demon. And that...
he lost once.
No, he lost like 2 or 3 times as the Demon.
Well, he only played the Demon 2 or 3 times, I think. He lost
anyway,
it.
it lost. Regardless of how many times
it lost its luster. Yeah.
After that first time of losing as the Demon, it lost its luster, and then they tried to bring it back, and it didn't have the same fan reaction.
Now, mind you, what I'm about to say might be different because this was 2010. So obviously a lot's changed since then. But I've heard stories that, like, when it came to like creative meetings, Vince McMahon would be like, "What are we doing for Cena?" And that's all he would give a shit about. And that just goes back to the point of, like,
they couldn't book
as much
for
as,
more than the main event properly.
Right. So, like, yes, Vince is, because that's the other thing too that we have to all like take into consideration is that, like, despite how big and how crazy WWE has gotten and how many different gears and aspects of it, everything, it all pivots down to Vince more times than not. And Vince only has so much time and energy and focus, right? Obviously, he is going to look at the bigger picture. So when you get down to the nitty gritty of these
that's
things,
where the money is, right?
Right. And where things are going to roll, he's not going to invest as much time and effort, energy, unless something really catches his eye, like a big fucking muscle meathead. You know what I mean? Like something
we do also have to take into consideration. We've talked about this. Vince and Triple H, and they have to consider what the board wants, because ultimately they have to answer to their.
Honestly,
right.
They have to answer their stockholders.
That is the ultimate answer.
For better or for worse, yes.
And I honestly think that is the moment that those documents were signed, making WWE a public trade, was the moment that WWE was done. In my
Alpha
opinion.
just said that in the chat too. They said it was as big a mistake as them going public.
Yeah, but that was the moment it became.
That was 20 years ago.
That's the moment when what made wrestling special died.
Exactly.
For me, because it just became a corporate. We're going to release the same thing week after week. You're going to watch a pay-per-view. Guess what? It's going to be the same matches on the next Raw. Same matches on SmackDown. It's like, oh my god, man.
Yeah.
They say that when kayfabe died, that's when wrestling died.
This was the second death.
I disagree. I very much think that wrestling can still last without the whole kayfabe thing. You know, because
right here.
But
he's doing the Betty White challenge.
Because, like, people can even kids these days, kids aren't dumb. I mean, they know, they don't need somebody to act like an asshole outside of the ring in order to know that they're a bad guy inside the ring. But
I mean, in most cases, it does help. You want to get like real heat? Fucking look at MJF got real heat. He's an asshole everywhere.
But when it comes down to it, I think that having the public have more of a say-so in what you do as a company, and no longer having the ability to run the company the way that you necessarily want to, has a much bigger factor on what is happening in said company than kayfabe does.
I feel like having the public run the company is a fucking madhouse.
He just saw the photo Basement put on the street.
I literally found a photo of William Regal hanging dong on WWE Raw.
I remember that.
I had to cover it because
Great.
you do see tip.
Decent tip. Is it a decent tip at least?
Well, I'm not going to discuss another
On
man's
that,
How do you spell his name, Gina?
tip.
WILLIAM
ZAC.
Oh, you know how to spell his name.
GAL. I learned my lesson from the other day.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what do you think about the news yesterday
What was the news yesterday?
about
Was
Mickey
he-
James?
Ah.
She's full of shit. That's what I think. In the end, you're gonna come out and you're gonna fucking be like, "Hey, when WWE ruined me, they put my shit in a garbage bag," and you're gonna go back. What do you have? No self-respect?
Well, here's the thing.
Fucking
You
clown.
have to
I hope she takes
Yeah.
her clit a dick and fucking jumps off a cliff.
Money talks.
You know what, Basement? When I stopped by Drew's show last Sunday, we were actually talking about Mickey James' fucking hot dog clit.
Telling you.
It got brought up.
Money talks. Money talks.
It got
That's all I'll say.
Man.
Honestly, it made
Yeah, but she was so vocal, and like WWE shouldn't even fucking offered her shit. I would never, if it was me, I would never
But-
bring that fucking person
okay,
back.
Hold on. Time out. First of all, they don't have very many divas to bring back anymore. First of all, and
That's not
second,
true.
Because they
Well,
like a whole
James-
bunch of them.
Mickey James,
Mickey James was like a fan favorite, so obviously they're gonna
not this
wanna bring
fan's
her
favorite.
Plus,
But-
Sasha's injured, so
But you got to take into consideration too. Yes, money is a talking factor, but Mickey James is a very fan-driven person, so she could be doing this for the fans as
She's
well.
a sellout,
not
is what
just-
she is.
my point was,
Listen, give Hot Dog Clit a chance.
I hope
okay?
she
My
comes
point
out
was,
dressed in a
of course she's
going to
be critical of WWE. If what happened to her was legit, and I have no reason to say it wasn't, but if it did happen, of course she's going to publicize about it. You know why? Because it's going to get her attention, which would lead to more bookings and more opportunities outside
but
of
she
WWE.
has the same
You know what I mean?
mentality of WWE then. Everybody has goldfish memories.
Listen,
I
it's business.
mean,
It's business.
yeah, money talks.
Well, it's business, but she talked trash about your business. Like, fuck that bitch, man.
Do you
No,
have
I hear
any
you.
idea- Do you have any idea how many people have talked shit about WWE in the past? If they were gonna not book every single person that has talked shit, that has wrestled for them in the past and has talked shit about them, they wouldn't have any wrestlers returning.
I mean, Hulk Hogan did
Well, I
it.
mean,
point.
it's popular now. It's popular to talk shit.
Ric
so.
Flair did it.
Ultimate Warrior did it.
Ultimate Warrior
Exactly.
did it.
Exactly. Road Dogg did it. All of these.
Oh, yeah.
All I hope is
almost-
she comes out with a garbage bag with her
every-
clothes in it.
Damn near every single fucking legend has talked shit about WWE.
Hailing from the trash bin, Mickey
Fuck, Ultimate
Clitodick
Warrior,
James.
Jesus Christ. But anyway, Basin, why do you have a gif of a monkey?
Isn't that cool?
It is so
It is. It just
I think it's good that WWE is doing what they're doing.
I think they should have monkeys do this. Dog walking?
yeah, I agree. I think it's
They
highly
opened
entertaining.
that forbidden door.
Listen, look at her little look at its little bow legs. It's so
Yeah.
fucking cute.
Why does he have
I mean,
suspenders
I
on?
wanna see the rest of this clip because I want to see whether or not that dog takes that. That
Oh, they're gonna
chimpanzee.
get hit by a car
The
for sure.
chimpanzee's trying to keep up, and then all of a sudden it falls. and then
Dislocates his shoulder.
The chimpanzee has a purse.
Now,
It's a
here's my
satchel.
question.
It's a satchel.
Before we finish this up, I do have
Yeah.
a question. One more question regarding Mickey James.
Yes.
Mhm.
The whole forbidden door thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
People are saying that since they have Mickey James coming back and she is the Impact champion, does that now mean that Impact is working with WWE?
No.
So no, so I read something today, and I don't know if take it with a grain of salt, that WWE is actually trying to work with AEW because they're trying to do a documentary and they want to use some of their superstars to do said documentary.
Well, half
the
of it-
So
documentary about?
WWE, well, not all of them.
I didn't say all of them. I said about half.
But WWE is trying to. apparently there is no more borders. There is no borders.
Which I'm thankful for, to be honest, because
I don't want to see it. If WWE is going to send Impact some star, I don't want to see Roman Reigns show up on fucking Impact. Period.
Listen, Basement and I were just discussing this the other day. Okay.
That would be funny though.
Basement, was it after we watched night 1 of New Japan, or was it after we watched night 2?
I don't know.
One of those. But we were discussing after everybody went to bed. We were discussing. And it would be fucking fantastic to see Roman Reigns show up in New Japan to wrestle Okada, or Roman Reigns show up in AEW to wrestle, or vice versa. Or vice versa. Kenny Omega show up in WWE to wrestle Roman Reigns, or Kenny Omega or Okada show up at the Royal Rumble. It'd be fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it would be taking wrestling back to its roots before they became a federation.
Back to the territories.
Yes, back to the territories.
I guess what I'll say is that I mean, would that be cool? Yeah. It depends on what's done with it. It's one thing like, oh, the forbidden door is blown open, but if like this is it, Mickey James enters the Rumble, watch he gets eliminated in 2 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
Oh, I would fucking laugh.
You know what I mean? Like, but you know, my point is, I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Listen, I don't even have a fucking dick, and I would have a gigantic heart on if I seen fucking Okada show up at the fucking Royal Rumble.
Sure you would.
But that shit's not gonna happen.
Lose my fucking shit. I'm just.
But
saying,
my point is that like, and this happens a lot. I've talked about this not just in wrestling, but just in media too, especially like entertainment stuff. People will put expectations so high for a possibility that then they get let down when it's like, oh, okay, like I could see them doing something with maybe the tag team champions, or doing something with like maybe who's the US, is it Damian Priest still the US champion? I have no idea.
Yes.
Okay. Sending over NXT talent to Impact. I could very easily see that happening, but nothing bigger beyond that.
Yeah, I agree.
One major thing they can do, since he is also a title holder, Shinsuke Nakamura could show back up in New Japan.
Oh my god, I would fucking cream so hard. Oh my god.
So I did hear something about that, and I did want to talk about New Japan just real quick, because they just did Wrestle Kingdom, and then we'll be done.
Night 2's great.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you, number 3 for me.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I
Yes,
did.
we did.
So
Oh, I gotta watch it yet.
I have heard that Shinsuke, and I've said this, but I read it. Shinsuke wants to have his last match in New Japan. Who that would be against, I do not know.
It'd be great if it was against Okada.
It'd be great if it was against Okada.
Yeah, but like,
Big
Shinsuke,
passing the torch.
now correct me if I'm wrong, but like Shinsuke, when he was there, was he the U.S. title holder, or was he a world champion?
He was the man.
Well, I remember that he was the man, but if you remember, like Okada was still the man when he had the fucking Intercontinental title.
When Shinsuke was in New Japan, he was the leader of Chaos.
Okay.
Okada was his understudy.
Okay.
So when he left, Okada took over.
You know what? I actually, when he left, right, Okada. I was gonna say Omega, but Omega was fucking.
Omega was in
the other faction. Yeah, I knew that because I watched Wrestle Kingdom 10, which was AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Yeah.
Speaking of Wrestle Kingdom, we watched Night 1. Night 1 was pretty good. It was a lot of
Night 1 was not
matches.
Great.
The championship match was
Okada versus Shingo was good.
I don't think Night 1 was one of the worst Wrestle Kingdoms I've seen.
Well, I think they should go away from 2 nights, period.
I agree.
They don't need all of these. Now, they don't. New Japan's a completely different animal. They don't have weekly shows. So they don't really. But they do all of their storytelling in the ring.
It's in America.
It's a sports-based. It's true professional wrestling.
Yeah, and we can't really say that they don't have a weekly show because they do.
They do.
The Japanese one, they don't, but they do in America.
They do. Well, New Japan
sort of, kind of, sort of ish.
New Japan
But anywho.
strong, bitch. That's
okay.
what Jay White
It's
wrestled.
okay. It's not great. It's not great, but okay, it's okay. So,
listen to him. Anywhere that Jay White is great.
well, Jay White can,
Prison?
stay in Australia for all I care.
Not from Australia.
New Zealand, fucking Baccarat,
Tasmania.
He lives in a kangaroo pouch. Let's just cut it. Let's just break even on
All
this
right.
one.
He looks like he
But that
lives
being
under a
said,
fucking freeway.
Night two, the main event,
Mhm.
5 stars.
Yeah, it's really
And
good. I don't know if
fantastic.
I'd give it 5 stars because I would give it 4 because the match
No.
was very one-sided for a very long time. Like Okada gets very little offense in that match. It was one-sided for too long. For me.
I can understand that.
Listen, I'm gonna
Crescendo built was so good.
give
It
it
was good,
5
though.
stars.
It was,
I'm
I
gonna
mean,
give it
I wouldn't
5
put it
stars.
on the same level as like Kota Ibushi and Okada or Omega and Okada.
Here's
But
the
it's
thing.
good. It's good.
Here's the
Kota
thing.
Ibushi could
I'm
wrestle a
gonna go-
Cadillac and make it 5 stars.
I know.
Exactly. I'm gonna go 5 stars, and the reason why I'm gonna go 5 stars with that is because
you're
like
Dave
not
Meltzer?
even
Hot
no, but
flashes.
listen, Basement, you're gonna agree with me when I say this. Not even 2 minutes into the match, Okada gets fucking brained.
Oh yeah, he gets like destroyed.
He gets fucking destroyed. Like he
getting-
actually catches his whole fucking top of his head with a DDT.
I was just saying,
And
getting
he
brain could be
wrestles
another
the-
thing, but all right.
So he wrestles the
Well,
entire
well,
match.
actually,
Fucking
Let me
chaos.
tell you, Jurgen. Relax.
Jurgen.
Jurgen.
Will Ospreay is a fantastic heel. He plays his part so great, doesn't he? He's not an asshole. He's just really good at his
He's
job.
really good at being a heel. Actually, I've heard that he's actually a like.
JP's a big fan of Zack
And
Sabre Jr.
Irvin.
himself, though, but you know.
Oh, I
Listen,
get
Zack Sabre Jr. is fucking fantastic. You guys shut your fucking holes.
Did you figure out how to spell his name yet?
Stop lying to
I
yourself.
did.
Okay. So just as an inside joke, so that everybody knows what I'm talking about. When we were watching Wrestle Kingdom Night 1 a couple days ago, Gina made some sort of offhanded comment about being able to see the lining of said Zack Sabre Jr.'s
Remember,
Dingus.
member, yeah, in his match in his trunks, but yet had difficulty spelling his first fucking name correctly. So
Listen,
she knows the
couldn't
outline of his penis fine, but not how to spell his name properly.
listen, I couldn't concentrate. Okay.
She's a
Really?
cock connoisseur.
we have a special guest, and it's Dave Meltzer.
Mhm.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm Dave Meltzer.
I'm down. I'm down.
Hi, I'm Dav Madden.
She got cockeyed again.
I don't know how to say my own name.
You were gonna say
See what
that,
happened?
you were
Listen,
gonna
do you
say
see-
that in real life, Will Ospreay is what?
I've actually heard that in real life, Will Ospreay is actually really good to his fans.
He is, and all the bullshit is not true. That
Right, Dave.
everybody wanted to fucking talk.
Okay, but here's the thing: you guys can't make fun of me because I can't pronounce something, okay? Because you had me
Dave?
thinking about that. You had
Pretty easy to
me-
pronounce.
I was thinking about the outline of said member again, and then I got all miscombobulated.
my right side of my face felt numb and just die.
But if you're new to this channel and somebody happens to say, I need to go take a Zack Sabre Jr., we literally mean we need to go take a shit. I personally think if Zack Sabre Jr. would wrestle other people's styles, I'd probably like him a little bit more. But Zack Sabre Jr. is like a fucking spider monkey or a ferret.
You just can't
He's a
stop
spider monkey ferret.
fucking
Yep.
boa constricting you.
It's fucking fantastic.
He's what you call a true. Now I did watch, and I can understand. I did watch the Shibata and Zack Sabre Jr. match, which was
Yeah.
a 5-minute exhibition. It was a submission match. They made it what it was because both of them were really good at submission holds.
Mhm.
I didn't mind that.
It's great.
Zack
Gina
Sabre
wants a submission
Jr.
hold.
As long as he's in the ring with somebody that does the same shit, he's fine. But if you put him in the ring with Okada, he looks just out of.
I will agree with that because I've seen him in the ring with Okada.
Now,
and
you
he
put him
looks
in the
like
ring with
he's out of his
Sonata.
element.
You put him in the ring with Sonata. Yeah, he's pretty good because they both have the same style.
Connor, are you looking at your cat or is one of your kids awake?
No, some noise just went off, and I hope it was one of my kids' toys because they're just like, "Meow." I'm like, what the fuck was that? I mean, that's a fucking
Oh my
ominous.
God.
Anyway,
Yeah, when Bella was little, she had this little doll, and it had like glowing eyes or whatever, not like red or anything, but like its eyes would light up, and the batteries were running out on it. I think I showed you guys this a long time ago. Remember those creepy little fucking Furby looking things that talk Chinese? Yeah, and their eyes, the eyes like fucking.
Oh, I know which.
Oh my
yeah.
God. Yes, the eyes would glow fucking. Most of the time it was like blue or green or yellow. When they would get angry, their eyes would glow red and they would just start like fucking barking at you in Chinese, and they had these fangs. Yeah, it was
barking in
terrifying.
Chinese. Bow wow 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 wow.
You don't even understand. Like,
Never
ask
fall.
these guys. I fucking showed them. I showed them. It was fucking terrifying. So it was terrifying enough, like just normal. But when the batteries went out or were going out on it, oh my God. Middle of the night.
No.
Rolling fucking eyeballs. And
We
all I
have
hear is,
another guest. Zack Sabre Jr. is now joining us.
listen, all I heard was and like fucking red eyes. All I could see was red eyes. It was fucking terrifying.
Oh my God.
He's taking a shit. Look at him.
Oh my God.
He does. It looks like he's taking a shit.
Oh my God. I hate you guys.
It looks like Connor's just took a Zack Sabre Jr. Look. Because he is under you. He is under you.
See,
I'm
look,
trying
Alpha doesn't know how to spell Zach either. I'm not the only one. I'm with you, Alpha.
Oh, so good. Well, I guess with that being said,
Jay White, you leave that man's name out of your mouth.
I really like Jay White. Jay White's really good.
I think it's best to end on a high note with Gina thinking about a penis. But thank you all for tuning into the debut episode of No Bucks Given. I think we had a pretty good time, guys. What about you guys?
I enjoyed myself.
It was a good show.
Smoother than I thought it was going to be. Smooth like chunky peanut butter.
How the
What?
fuck is
And
that?
now we have a new guest. Either that's chocolate ice cream or that's shit.
Ah, basement. I hate you.
So like I said at the beginning, if you would like for us to talk about something, please put it in. We'll look it up. We'll look it over. We'll talk about it. But it's got to be.
Yeah.
Don't send us some stupid shit because I'll just be like.
Don't send us some Zack Sabre Jr. stuff. Make sure you send us the good stuff.
Listen, Randy Viper, if you're out there listening right now, I love you to death, but I am not talking about hentai.
Let's talk about hentai.
Yeah, we're going to talk about hentai next week. So make sure you guys come back to the channel because we'll be doing this show each and every single Saturday night, same time slot. For stuff we got coming up this week, tomorrow, a good chunk of the Horny Goat crew will be invading the Derailed show, Drew's show over on his channel tomorrow. So that should be a lot of fun for his 200th episode. Monday, we start off the Marvel Roundtable series where we break down each Marvel movie in its order. We're starting off with Iron Man, the first one, the original one that started it all. Wednesday, we got our group stream, and then, of course, we're coming back with a movie watch-along on Friday. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming at you in the near future.
It's Gina's movie.
Yeah. What? Oh, yeah.
It is my movie.
What's your movie, Gina?
I am still thinking, but I'm still thinking that it's going to be This Is the End.
Of what?
Of Betty White.
This is the song.
Betty White.
This is the end of Betty White.
Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, follow, share, all that fun stuff. Follow these sexy bastards on their social media. And we'll see you guys next time for another episode of No Bucks Given.
Bye, bye, bye. I forgot who's in charge of this.
I don't wave.
You should.
I'm not a hugger.
Princess wave. Or that's the queen wave.
I'm a